evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is our regular Board of Supervisors meeting, November 12th, 2025. And I'm going to call this meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then if everybody could just remain standing afterward, I would appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag Thank you, everyone. As we know, yesterday was Veterans Day, and it's a very somber day, and it's also a day to give thanks and show our appreciation to our veterans. I know we have some veterans in the room here, some are staff, some are residents. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of them and have a brief moment of silence for those who served and gave all and are no longer with us. Thank you. And thank you all for your service. We're very grateful. We wouldn't be here today had it not been for you and the sacrifices that yourself and your family make. So thank you all. All right, roll call, please. Scarlett?
Scarlett Cantley.
Frank Palin.
Michael Johnson.
Richard Vassalotti.
Elizabeth Alcamando?
Patricia Farrell.
Jay Foy. Burgess Hanson. Also on Zoom, we have Miss Laura Donlin, Labor Council, Mr. Bill Doney, who's part of the General Council team. And then I also have Mr. Daniel Ray, which is part of the engineering team, as well as Miss Raquel McIntosh, who's in the building, but she's just not sitting out here. She's our CFO. Thank you.
Robinson. Kenny Lawrence.
Miriam Heiser.
Thank you.
And for the record, Miss Argy does have an excused absence. She's sent.
Thank you. Okay, welcoming remarks, Michael.
Okay, thank you.
Ready? Okay, well, again, thank you everyone for being here. Your participation is important. It's critical to keep up to date on what's going on. And this is the best way to know what's going on here in the district, better than social media. I also like to direct everyone to our website, indiantrail.com, where you can put in maintenance requests, find out information, log in and go to the meetings where you could submit your public comments in advance. And I'll remind everybody, if you do want to speak on an agenda item, to please complete your card and turn it in prior to that item being heard. And then if it's just general public comment, not an agenda item, please get that in before that comes up approximately at 7:30. We do our best to get it in by then. Silence your cell phones if you have not already. And please, let's remember to be respectful to one another, to staff, of course, and the board members. And thank you very much. All right, item 5.1, agenda approval. Do I have any additions, deletions, or substitutions? Seeing none, I look for a motion.
Make the motion.
All right, and we have a second. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, see that passes 4-0. Got it up on the screen now. It's a little behind us today. All right, presentations, PBSO. Who's coming up for us?
Yeah, two. Two for the price of one.
Wonderful.
Good evening. I'm Deputy Joseph with the Sheriff's Office. Just to briefly cover some of the traffic that's been going on over the last 2 weeks between October 16th and October 31st. We've had about 18 car accidents in total in the Acreage and Loxahatchee area. Majority of them were occurring along Seminole Pratt between Sycamore and Temple. The main reasons that we've noticed for these accidents have been following too closely and failing to yield to traffic that has the right of way. So with that said, just holidays are coming up and we highly encourage everyone that's gonna be out on the roadway, please be cautious.
Thank you. Any questions? Hmm?
Hello, I'm Sergeant Tata with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Thank you to the board and thank you to the citizens. Again, traffic has been the traffic is heavy and obviously the traffic crashes, but also just keep in mind when it comes to crime, it's non-existent. It seems like everything is extremely safe. And that's basically what we have for now.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Okay, and fire rescue, I don't believe Chief Amaro is going to be with us tonight.
She cannot be here.
Okay. And so we're going to move on to item 6.3. I will just say briefly that most of the calls, I did get the email, most of the calls are medical. It was just over 200 calls, which is about average for the community. But fortunately, the majority of them were medical, and I hope everybody is okay. 6.3, volunteer appreciation presented by Vice President Farrell. Before you begin, if you don't mind, I just want to give some honorable mention. The event for Halloween was absolutely amazing. Staff did a fantastic job. The volunteers, I was present and participated, and I believe we had a couple of thousand people, and that just shows me that we're on the right track, that this is something that the community wants. We're all, kind of hungry for that, and it brings the community together. I think it was wonderful. You guys went above and beyond our expectations. I know that several of you put in not only your spare time, but your own dollars. And we're very grateful for that. And I'm sure the community is too, because it made the event that much better. So I want to thank you all very much. You did a fantastic job. I'd also like to give honorable mention. She couldn't be here tonight. Former Commissioner McKinley. She and I did the costume contest. That was so much fun. I think we had over 100 between children and pets. It was just amazing. The costumes, everybody outdid themselves. So it was just wonderful. And former Supervisor Martin was there too, and she helped out with us. Supervisor Johnson provided the pumpkins. That was amazing. Thank you. To Mary McNicholas, who also couldn't be here tonight. She sent a lot of candy, so that was fantastic. And Mr. Pretty and his administration team, they were very helpful and supportive throughout. So it's wonderful to see all the community come together, and we're very grateful. The ALA set up all the vendors, so that was one less thing we had to do, although I know for Christmas we'll be doing that, and I know you guys are going to do just as great of a job with that. So again, thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Vice President Farrell for her big presentation. We had so many people helping. This is going to take a minute, so yes, please do. And while we're waiting, Supervisor Vasilani and I got to ride on this really cool fire truck and pass out candy, and that was so much fun. We really had a good time, and a little dog joined us, and he had a great time too. So that was a lot of fun. But we know we're going to need a lot more candy for next year.
So I am very grateful to our community. I think I heard 3,000. Am I wrong on that? Around 3,000 plus community members came and joined in for this event. And I was not able to make it. I had a prior family commitment, so I wasn't able to make it. But I saw some videos and some pictures. He doesn't like to be brought out, but the executive director was on his horse. He's going to die right now. So, but He was amazing. I got to see a snapshot of him in action, and it was phenomenal. The hard work that was put into this from our staff, and another one that is omitted is Miriam over here. The hard work that she put in designing the cutouts for the photo props were amazing. She was sending me pictures. She was so excited. Like, if you want to know what the spirit is of our community, I would say it would be our staff. I would say it would be Kenny Lawrence with the ideas that he comes up with, Miriam acting them out, Jeff back there going into the parking lot to draw off our props. So I want to Bob Morgan. He was very important in getting our vendors and our food trucks lined up and set up for us. It was a community event. It was a lot of people that had to be put in their time. I think we were meeting like at the end, like every Thursday, walking the area to see where we were going to put things. And, you're hearing these ideas of brilliance, but you're trying to figure out how they're going to execute them. And I think you executed them from what I've seen and what I've heard from many people, a marvelous event. And I know what I saw for their last Christmas event. I can only imagine what we're going to do this year. God willing, the rain stays away and we have a great dry event. So, but for now, we're going to go ahead. Yep. Did you have something? I thought you were going to say something. So we're going to start with recognizing our staff members who were involved in helping arrange and get this set up and initiate this event. So the first one we have is Kenny Lawrence. Make sure I have the right. Okay. I have Kenny Lawrence here. So Kenny Lawrence is our recreational and parks director. He is a great mind behind this, and he truly wants to bring our community together. And he thinks of all different types of ways. And one of them was our Halloween event. And we're going to have a Christmas event, God willing. And I expect that to be pretty amazing too. Don't go too far, because are we going to try to do a group or just do? Okay, don't go far because we're going to do a group. Next, I have Jeff Sislak. Jeff is our guy that we'll go meet in the parking lot and draw out our props.
Out of our secret.
No, not anymore. Everybody knows he's willing to go far above and beyond.
We're not letting anybody be camera shy, so.
Sorry, not happening. Kayla Heiser. She is our computer genius. So she was doing the layouts for us so that we knew we could have a visual as to where everything was going to be laid out. So thank you.
And I'd like to add how much Kayla and her sisters did at night and on the weekends, working on those props, decorating the park for hours. Our staff put in a lot of their own time, like I said earlier, and dollars. So we're all very grateful for all of that and all that hard work. So you guys did a wonderful job.
I have park specialist Ricardo Parks. What an appropriate name.
It was just destiny that
Wasn't
would be
it?
his
Yeah,
job.
definitely destiny. Thank you very much. Shake your hand too. Yeah. Thank you. Park specialist Bruce Woods. All right, Stephen. I didn't check with this last name, but Joda. Did I get that one right? So Stephen is our park specialist for whom these might be the last events as he is contemplating, what is this? Retirement? To retire in 2026. So Happy retirement, and hopefully you'll be joining us for the events anyways.
And while they're doing that, I'll take this opportunity to give our park staff a little bit more kudos. Tonight, the Palm Beach County Film and Television is having an award ceremony. There's an award for those type of filmings. It's called the Telly Award. And tonight, they received the honor of a silver award for a program that they did. And it was a spot called Pets in Paradise. And ACP is showcased in that film. So I'm very proud of our park. It looked absolutely beautiful in the filming. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. So yeah, I couldn't be there, but my family is there and celebrating for us and with Palm Beach County on that. So very nice, guys.
I have Angie O'Neill, our equestrian specialist. We had quite a few horse riders out there, so I'm sure they had to be wrangled in. Park specialist John Marty. Okay, he's not here, but thank you, John Marty. Next, we have Justin Norfolk, park specialist Justin Norfolk. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. You're helping us with this. Thank you. Park specialist Alexander Albert. Thank you. So shall we get everybody up here for a group photo? Oh, no, excuse me. I got to keep going. Sit down. I have more. I'm not paying attention to my own directions. Loader. So for the parade, we had 3 staff members. Ed Nino. Sorry, Loader. Neno. How do I say it? Neno. Okay, sorry. I told her to put it phonetically so I could say these things appropriately. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I got to say, the kids loved having the equipment. You know, the community loved having the equipment in the parade. So great job, guys.
We had the greater operation, Jason Smith. He's not here. Well, thank you, Jason. And the dump truck, which I'm sure was probably a huge hit also, would be Scott Jacobs. Scott Jacobs? Not here. Okay, well, make sure that they get them. And then for support crew, we had Evan Mitchell, learned new charade tricks. I think we need more information on that. I guess we're not going to learn it today because is Evan Mitchell here?
Nope.
Okay, so he'll have to fill us in. Jay Andrews, reliving high school track team days. Jay Andrews, is he here? Okay, and then I have Romaldo Junior Martinez. Romaldo? Okay, well, all right. So here I'm going to stop and we're going to have the group photo. So all the people that I named that are here, please come up, put on your best smile. We're going to do a group photo.
And while everybody gathers, I want to also give a shout out to a former staff member, Mr. Billy Rhodes. If you were at the event, you heard all the great music and DJ that was done. Mr. Rhodes donated his time to come out and help us celebrate the holidays. And he said he will be doing so in the future. So we're very grateful to Mr. Rhodes. And this just goes to show you that even though people may not be employed here anymore, they still want to participate. These are residents in our community, and we're kind of a big family here, and it's really nice. All right, on three, everybody say community. Come on, we can do better than that. Thank you guys so much. We have a great team.
We're going to continue on. We have the prep crew. So somebody else is going to have to take the pictures because Miss Heidi Garcia is the first one on my prep crew. She is another one that just puts a lot of effort into her position in on the clock and off the clock. She did a lot to help with the shopping and prepping for our community and our event. So we appreciate everything you do for us. So thank you very much. Michelle Garvey. Michelle Garvey lent us some good professional information. She works for the City Wellington in their parks, and she was able to provide some valuable advice to help us guide us with our event. So thank you very much. Brian Ziegler. He's our handyman, sign setup, you name it. He was there helping us. So thank you, Brian. So that would be our prep. So we can bring our prep people up and we can take a small group photo, please. Thank you. Yeah. We want this well documented.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, now on to the VIPs of our event. That would be our volunteers who put in some timeless hours, arrived early, helped set up, created the atmosphere that made our event, I think, a successful one. So we're going to start with our hayride. So we had Jade, special in effect makeup, horsewoman at the haunted trail, and she was very, very dedicated. So thank you, Jade. Oh. Wow. Is that you?
Yes.
That's amazing. Oh, thank you very much. That's amazing.
She was pretty
Thank you.
scary when she came out from behind the bushes too, let me tell you.
I can't even tell you
Heard a
how
lot of
upset I am that I missed this. I mean, I was at an event with my grandkids, and I wouldn't have missed that for the world. But how awesome is this? How awesome! That's great. Thank you very much. Next, we have Zach. Zach brought his personality and horse. He was the demon cowboy. Zach. Okay, so he's on his way. Well, thank you, Zach. We'll put that over to the side. I wish we don't have a picture of the demon cowboy. Yeah. And then I have Haley. Haley. She's on her way also. Goodness. Okay. Headless Horseman. And we want to thank you for bringing so much character, wit, and warmth to a character that technically has none. All right. For the hayride actors, Courtney Brinkley. Let's see her here. So we have Courtney Brinkley. I'm going to put that in this pile. Can I just call all the McAdams up? So we have Bradley, Carter, Gavin, and Nicole McAdams. Please come up. I know her from the area, and I know she volunteers at the schools also. So anytime we have volunteering, she's usually telling her kids to let's go. So we appreciate you. So we have Bradley. Thank you. Carter. How cool is that? Gavin. Thank you. And I have Nicole, just making sure I'm giving the right ones because a couple of them. So thank you very much. So let's do a group one real quick. Thank you guys very much. So on Zoom, we have Gabriel Oakes. Was Gabriel the one with the? Okay, so I heard you could see him in the distance with glowing red eyes. Well, if he's on there, Gabriel, thank you. We have your certificate. Please come by the district office. All right. Who arrived? Haley, come on, Haley, come on down. Headless Horseman. I want to thank you for bringing so much character to a character who basically has none. No, you did it. You brought character. So thank you very much, Haley. All right. Olivia Seepersod. Olivia? Not here right now. Aubrey Underwood. Oh, Aubrey, let's slow down. Thank you. Violet Van Vorst. She's not here? Okay. Well, thank you, Violet Van Vorst. Will you please come by the district office? Oh, you know what? I skipped somebody. Sorry. Carmela Serpenti. Okay. Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Brooklyn Vassalotti. I'm going to hand it to you upside down because it's got some envelopes in here. Thank you very much for volunteering. There you go.
She does. She does.
She was a pretty scary zombie.
Was she a voluntold?
Yeah.
Was she? Okay. Ashlyn Ziegler. Were you one of the artists that were painting with Miriam? No? No, you didn't do any? No? Okay.
She supervised.
That's a very critical role. So.
Yeah, it is very. Yes.
All right. Oh, and Zoe Ziegler. Now, did you
She
paint?
is the artist.
You are the painter. I should have known by the hair. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's what we have for the hayride actors. So we can stop, and if I can get all the volunteers, it's going to be a tight squeeze. Do you think we're going to be able to fit everybody? All right, let's try it. Everybody that was a volunteer, come on up here. Let's see if we can get. We might need people on the floor, so
They used
littles.
Did that right? They laid on the floor.
Okay, so let's. Yeah. Yeah, he's coming up, I promise. We're getting there. He had a very important role. Yeah. Come on. Don't be a chase. Thank you to our volunteers. Thank you. So for arts and crafts, we had Stephanie and Madison Woods. How about I bring both of you guys up? Stephanie and Madison Woods.
Mr.
All right. I can see how.
She's gonna take it for them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave this up here separate and we'll hand them to you in just a few minutes. Okay. And then Culinary Support System. Melody Morris. Melody Morris, okay. Please come by the district office. Joey Ponicelli. Joey? Okay. All right, so from what I understand, this must have been a very important VIP job. Administrative Support, Axel Vassalotti.
It's very important.
Muy importante.
There it is.
I'm going to put it that way because you have some. Okay, and so for photo ops, which I don't, Charlie and Jesse James. So, and they're a big community supporter. They also help out with the equestrian trail. So we'll make sure we get these. Okay, so those that I just called, I guess all I had was Axel. We already got a picture of you. You're good. Okay, so thank you very much. You're going to give that? Okay. Thank you very much. And again, if you can see how important it is, I mean, the volunteers that stepped up to help us, the people that turned out, it's something that I think is very important to our community. It's something positive. It's nice to see positivity. Let's keep bringing it through to our community. If you know anybody or if you are able to sponsor, we have sponsorship that's available that you can sponsor specific items, whether it's the Santa area, the Santa land, I don't know what we're calling it, but individual areas, trees, candy, anything you can do to help us out. We'd really appreciate anybody's help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. How about a big round of applause for everybody that helped? Volunteerism is so crucial and we're so grateful to everybody. Thank you. I just want to quickly read something. Unfortunately, the family couldn't be here tonight. This is something that I put together with former Supervisor Joni Martin. A few months ago, we lost someone in the community, very outspoken, very much wanting to preserve and protect what we all came here for. And her passing was sudden and very difficult for many of us that knew her. Love her or hate her, she was a pillar of the community. And I don't think anybody really hated her, but you know, she wasn't afraid to speak her mind and speak up. And I can think of a couple of names that she called a few people, but we won't go there. So in memory of Josephine Jojo Milano, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Indian Trail Improvement District wish to express their condolences on the passing of Jojo Milano, who departed this life on July 19th, 2025. And whereas Josephine Jojo Milano, born April 6, 1965, was a gifted graphic artist, community advocate, and cherished resident of Loxahatchee, whose creativity, compassion, and commitment left a lasting impact on her community and beyond. And whereas before moving to the acreage in 2004, starting her own farm, Jojo built a respected career in the design and advertising field in Miami, later continuing her creative work through Milano Designs, where she produced numerous ads for local publications and businesses. Whereas Jojo became a devoted goat farmer and passionate advocate for local agriculture and property rights within the Loxahatchee and acreage communities. And whereas she dedicated herself to supporting and mentoring small farmers, promoting sustainable practices, and advocating for raw milk laws and defending the right to farm, helping residents navigate local regulations affecting agricultural life. And whereas Jojo was widely known for providing reliable information, thoughtful guidance, and steadfast encouragement to anyone raising livestock or working to preserve the area's rural character. And whereas her dedication extended beyond advocacy, as she was a selfless champion for animal welfare and a source of knowledge, generosity, and kindness to all who sought her help. Whereas Jojo was loved and respected by many, she will be remembered for her unwavering support of local farmers, her tireless community involvement, and her enduring legacy to the service of others. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Indian Trail Improvement District, Palm Beach County, Florida, hereby honors the memory of Josephine Jojo Milano and recognizes her extraordinary contributions to the Loxahatchee and Acreage communities, her advocacy for local agriculture, and her lifelong dedication to the welfare of others. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to her family and friends in grateful recognition of her service and the lasting impact she made on our community on this day, the 12th of November, 2025. So JoJo was a fighter, and she was a fighter for our community and preserving what we had. And I hope that we all have a little bit of JoJo inside of us that will always continue to fight for our community where we can and however we can. And coming together the way we have, I think, is a really great start, and it can only get better from here. So thank you, everyone, again, for your volunteerism and your care of our community, because we are much stronger together. Okay. All right, now, supervisor business. Michael. Richard. Sure.
Few people leaving. Welcome, everyone. And one more time, the Sleepy Halloween event was absolutely amazing. I was very impressed with the amount of time and effort our staff and had put in and the volunteers that came out. But something was brought to my attention, and I'm glad it was. We received a public records request concerning costs for the Halloween event. And basically what this request was asked for was our costs, expenses, goods, service, staff time, cost to organize, setup or other, staff time, cost at the event, PBSO coverage, permits, origination of funds used to cover the event, donor's name, amount, goods, donors' names, items donated, service donors, donors, service donated, volunteers' names, hours, ITID budget, category, amounts, other, etc. for the event, basically an accounting of cost, goods, and services for the event and where the money or donations came from for the event. So as I'm sure the information that is needed was sent out to this person who put in the request. However, this came from the ALA, and a response from us, from staff, was please see the attached records request for all expenses and revenue related to Sleepy Halloween event. That's our response. As this was a joint event, we will need your portion of the financial details to fully fulfill this request. The response from the Acreage Landowners Association was, to whom it may concern, this was brought before the ALA board and was determined that since no taxpayer monies per the public records request were involved in this event regarding the ALA, we have no financials to report. All money spent by the ALA were from donations by the community. Please let us know if we can be of further assistance. Okay. So I'm glad this was brought to my attention, because as a governmental entity, and we put an event like this together, it does cost taxpayer dollars. And not that I think it was an expensive event, but it was a very successful event. And it's an event that I'm going to support in the future, such as our next Christmas event. And people are already talking about next year's Halloween event and maybe something else besides that. My issue is that when an entity such as the ALA, who barely did anything that I saw, and it was brought to my attention that they didn't do much, they set up vendors and had 5 food trucks. And someone from the ALA wants to know every nickel and dime and everything that was involved with this. Excuse me. It says the ALA right here on this public. Well, it's the
Okay.
response was from you, Mr. Morgan. Okay, well, it's right here. Okay, I'm talking right now.
Well, go. Gentlemen,
Okay.
gentlemen,
Well, you'll let me finish and
just a moment.
see what I have to say. Okay, now, There were 5 food trucks. Matter of fact, I got 4 food trucks in 10 minutes just recently for Summer Ridge High School football game. It wasn't very difficult. 5 food trucks, beer, whatever vendors were there. And they did not want to disclose the amount of money that was brought into an organization that how many people signed up for the ALA that night, from what I understand, was 0. So you have an organization that says they're for the community, but I'm not seeing it. And 2 months ago, I said I want you guys to be successful. But some events that have happened since then in the last 2 months and things that were brought up made me think that not certain where you guys are going with this. So if you want to volunteer, great. I don't know how much money you brought in. However, that you cannot disclose that at a co-sponsored event. And I promoted you guys, co-sponsored event, ITID and the ALA. This was a co-sponsored event that you do not want to disclose what you made. Whether you have a legal responsibility to or not, I don't think that matters. I think there's a transparency there. And so my thought is from now on, if you want to be a part of something, great. If you're going to come out and help out, great. Do I think what money from vendors and food trucks need to go back to the ALA? No, you guys are volunteers. I don't understand. And I'm sure it was over $1,000 that you made, possibly $2,000. Thank you.
It's actually $2,100.
Okay, thank you. Hold on, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Do the math.
Okay. So if that's accurate, I don't know if that's accurate or not. You made a profit, but I don't know why a volunteer organization needs to make a profit or something like that, especially when you really don't have a membership or anything.
Did sign numbers.
Okay.
Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. You won't even let me speak, Lou. You
All right,
have 3
excuse
minutes
me.
of public comment.
Excuse me, Lou. Lou,
The citizens.
Lou, you could speak later. Lou, okay, then
This is.
it's not, he's entitled to his opinion, please. If you want to speak during public comment on it, you're more than welcome to. Now is not the time, please.
So my point is that I would like to propose to the board, consider this, that from now on, events like this put on by ITID, vendors, food truck revenue goes back to the taxpayer. That's it. It's not a big deal. I think that's where it belongs. The taxpayers, you saw the people look how many people were here, the volunteers, the kids, everything. They did the work. And setting up 5 food trucks, not very hard. So that's where I'm at with this. And I would like to have a discussion on this if the rest of the board would like to think about this. I think those monies, when it comes to ITID events, needs to go back to the district to offset our costs, such as PBSO and things like that we pay for, and give it back to the taxpayers. And that's where I stand with that.
Thank you. Patty? Okay. I tend to agree with Supervisor Vassalotti that the staff did a great job. I don't see any reason why. I know the ALA is not going to be involved with the Christmas event, so I don't see any reason why our staff cannot put the trucks together. They did a fantastic job with that when we had the CSX closure. In fact, we're going to be discussing some new food truck rules a little bit later on in the meeting, which I think are going to be very important and in line with county and state. So I think it's very important that we do that, something that we hadn't really had a need to do before. I also would like to talk about the budget for the Christmas event. I have been speaking with staff. They have some really great ideas to make it even better. And I dare say better than Halloween, better than last year. But it is going to take a little bit of money to do so. My calculation is 25 cents per resident. And I think that the outpouring of support and volunteerism makes that quarter go a really long way. So I would like to add to what you said and add the small budget that staff needs, so they're not stressing and they're not spending their own money. And I believe we said it would be less than $10,000, much less, but I'd like to go as high as that. And that's where I get it's actually 22 cents, but I rounded it up. So I'd like to see if the board would be agreeable to that. I don't want them to have to worry. And remember, with sponsorship, and if we're going to do the vendors and the food trucks, that money can come back and go back to the park. And any money left over, there are a lot of things we need to still do in South Park. The artificial turf is coming along great, but there's still a lot of things on that site plan that we need to work on. And what better way, rather than just saying, hey, guess what? We're going to raise your taxes so we could put this whatever at the park. How about we have a fun event? Everybody comes out and enjoys it. Their park, right? Because this is not our park. This is the community's park. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have this event, and then we can put in a playground, or I'm just talking about, different things, whatever it is that we're going to put in. And this way, not only does it show the community that we want to put these things in for them, but they're a part of making it happen, right? And bringing the community together and making them a part of it, I think is fantastic. So I would like that. If the board is agreeable to that, I would be very happy to see that happen. So I don't know if we can get a consensus on that. Michael, what do you think? Rich? Patty? All right. So there we have it. Consensus. All right. Now my comments. I think I said all I have to say about the event. I could probably go on for an hour, but we can't be here all night. I was at the Loxahatchee Groves Veterans and Founders Day. I think that was fantastic. Great support for our veterans. I went to Royal Palm, great support for our veterans there, just beautiful ceremonies. So I want to thank them. Unfortunately, didn't get to go to Wellington. They were at the same time, but it was really nice. We've got some issues coming up with Palm Beach County, with Palm Beach Gardens. Tomorrow they're going to do the approval, excuse me, tonight is the approval for the remaining zoning east of Coconut. I'm sure that's going to go through. The rest of it has already. I met with HCA today. They had to, this is for RER on Orange Boulevard. That's going to be next to the dental office, just to the east. They had to redesign. There was counties requiring them to put in a front porch, which I'm glad, because it makes it a little bit more appropriate to our area. So I'm glad that the planning department is doing that. I appreciate that. And so that rendition should be ready soon. As soon as they have it ready, they will be providing it to us so we can show the residents what that's going to look like. So we're going to have plenty of hospital and doctor facilities in the community in the coming months and years, more than enough, I think. And hopefully that will kind of capture some traffic. And we won't all have to go to Jupiter Gardens or wherever to Wellington to go to the doctor. The traffic, as PBSO brought up, it's been bad, and it's getting worse. And hopefully Seminole Pratt will be finished sooner than later. I know there was another accident there today. They had it one way yesterday with no signage. That was a little disappointing. I got out on Hamlin and I couldn't go north. I had to go south, but it took a few minutes. It is what it is, but let's hope they get that done soon. Yesterday. Yeah. So that's good. So hopefully it won't be much longer for the county to get that project finished. I think we're all kind of over that. And that's about all I have for tonight. I have a few more things, but we could talk about those in December. Okay, now on to our regular agenda. 8.1, disposition of real property. We're going to discuss and consider resolution number 2025-019, amending and restating the district's policy regarding disposition of surplus interest in real property, including easements. And we're going to discuss resolution 2025-020, declaring certain real properties between 60th Street North and Persimmon Boulevard in Unit 14, also known as the FPL parcel, to be surplused. Mr. Palin, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, ma'am. Move a little closer to this thing. Well, first of all, I apologize to the board and to the public that we did our best to get this information, the backup information, out to the public for review in advance, but we've been gathering information on this as late as Monday morning. And so we're not able to pull together all of the background information that's necessary before the board, I think, could go ahead and make a final determination, certainly on the resolution 2025-020, which is the actual declaration of parcels to be surplus and then can be disposed of to private interests, which is really what the issue is there. The resolution 25-0219 amends the policy that the board has had in place since 2015. And the policy is not being radically changed, but it is being tweaked to allow the board to consider, depending on the circumstances, a broader definition of value, valuation of real property. So there, at the moment, the policy limits the value of when there is a sale or transfer by sale or otherwise to private interests. That value should be for, quote, fair market value, which has a defined term. But there's other ways of looking at how to place a value on property. Fair market value is the most common and a typical way you would value real property in a private market. I mean, like the notion of fair market value is defined as what a willing buyer who's fully informed would pay a willing seller who's also fully informed in a completely open market, and nothing is reserved and everybody. So it's an ideal situation. It's not necessarily even in a private market, but that is often defined by reference to comparables, quote unquote. You look at lots, an appraisal is done, and you look at lots similarly situated in the area that are in the kind of same market, and then you compare by square footage what the value of the property should be, whether it's improved or unimproved. I mean, that sort of thing. That's not the only way to look at the value of property where there are unusual circumstances that are not atypical circumstances, which I think if once we go through the information that's been provided, and we've been discussing the FP&L parcel for quite a long time. So I think the board's familiar with its configuration. It's 185 feet wide and 1.3 miles long. This parcel is, although the FP&L corridor, the utility corridor, stretches for 3.5 miles through the district, it's only in unit 14, the 1 square mile, the 1 square mile that was never developed by Royal Palm Beach Colony. It was developed by another developer, because that land was owned by others than the colony. And they had their own ideas about how to lay out the lot configurations and such in their property. And so everywhere else in the acreage, the FP&L corridor is essentially people's backyards. It's an easement. Well, there is an easement on this 1.3 mile diagonal piece that goes through Unit 14, but the developers created a parcel and set it aside. So if you look closely at the boundaries of lots in Unit 14, they may average 1.25 acres, but there's some strange ones in there. They were trying to squeeze in smaller than 1.25 acres. There are a couple that are larger, but they have smaller lots, and because of this utility, the major utility line going through it, there are lots of little arabesques all along in terms of, roads leading in, canals. There are some very strange parcels. The developers created, because they apparently knew where the power poles were going to be going, they routed roads around them. So we've got, roads that come straight up to the east boundary, out the west, straight through. But when you get up to the boundary, it'll take a loop around. And so they're odd, which results in more odd configurations because you have roads kind of twisting around. You can't just direct it straight across and start routing it this way without having strange outlets on the other side. So there are even more strange boundaries along this corridor. Now the district acquired the property in 2001 as part of a deal, quote unquote, with Palm Beach County. The county was acquiring Unit 11 up to the northernmost unit in the district, and the county was acquiring it to create a nature preserve. But there had already been hundreds of lots sold in Unit 11. They could never get access to the property. The railroad at the north end blocked, and they couldn't get an outlet across onto Beeline Highway. There were drainage problems. There were lots of issues, but the lots were sold. The county had to use eminent domain to acquire the property. Indian Trail, because a unit of development had been created, was assessing those lots for road and drainage purposes. And those lots, those assessments were all in arrears also. So they were unpaid. So Indian Trail had claims against those lots. So Indian Trail collated, the county said, rather than you, Indian Trail, spending all this effort to condemn the properties and, basically exercise your power to collect these unpaid debts, why don't we trade? Basically, you'll give up your claims in Unit 11 if you'll, and we'll give you this wonderful parcel that the county owns in Unit 14, which the county had taken for back taxes because the developer who had laid this system out had defaulted and disappeared. So it has a colorful history. Well, in the intervening years, at the time, to be fair, the staff and the board at the time thought that there was recreational potential for trails or something, but and they had the opportunity to be given 29 acres of property, even though it was subject to this restrictive covenant by FP&L. It couldn't really be developed, so it can't be. No buildings or structures can be placed on the property under that restrictive covenant. And so, although there were some concepts and this deal appeared, I'm not sure how voluntary the deal was, but that was the, I don't want to ascribe any kind of motives to anyone, but, after all this time, and having read quite a bit of background on this, one has some suspicions that maybe it wasn't quite as open and voluntary arrangement between the county and the district. But in any case, the district took the property, gave up its claims, allowed the county to go ahead and take Unit 11 and establish a nature preserve up in that area. But then the property just sort of sat there since 2000, so 24 years or so, without any, although from time to time, a concept might be raised about maybe we should think about some kind of recreational potential on this property. No water control plans were created. No definite plans were ever adopted by the board. It was owned by the district. It's tax exempt because it's publicly owned property. So no revenues were coming in from it, but there were no taxes that the district had to pay. It just sort of sat there all those years until about 2023 or so, 2022, 23, the actually more like in 2020, and the mobility plan was being developed here in the district, the issue of recreational uses came back up. Again, no official action was taken right at that point. In 2023, the district commissioned a detailed survey of the property because we were looking at, and staff was looking at eliminating encroachments. There were encroachments, people were grazing animals, fencing it in. There were doing things that were inconsistent with Indian Trail's fee ownership. It's not an easement. The Indian Trail owned the fee. There is an easement, but we didn't create the easement. We got it subject to this FPNL easement. These ideas of more active, looking at the property more actively as a recreational facility obviously raised concerns by neighboring landowners. Their response was to approach the board about the possibility of, and there were actually difficulties in creating a efficiently functioning recreation facility on the property. I'm not minimizing that, but I mean, it was examined and there were concerns. There was a debate that never was fully resolved because the board didn't take direct action to actually establish a trail system that was discussed. But at the same time, the board also was discussing the request from the landowners to consider an alternative, which is to dispose of the property. And so that's in September. Well, actually, last year, earlier in 2024, we went through a more focused examination of that proposal. Several options were examined by the board. The one and the resident landowners proposal was one of them. And that was the proposal that the board selected as a direction for the property in September 2025. So since that time, staff and your professional consultants have been examining all of the issues that are raised by implementing that proposal to declare the property surplus or portions of it surplus and convey the resulting or portions of it to the adjacent landowners. So in the backup package tonight, and I again apologize for how lengthy it is, but I'm afraid it's necessary because we're dealing with real property. Whenever local government or government of any sort is asked to transfer public property to private interest, there are a number of significant issues that are raised. The first of which is the Florida Constitution, which basically prohibits public property being used for private gain. And then, no, that doesn't mean you can't sell to private interest, but there should be value received. And that is also in our policy, which was adopted in 2015, that was recognized that where the transfer is proposed to go to private interest, that either individuals or to like corporate private interest, that there should be valuable consideration given. That doesn't necessarily mean money, but it means something of value. It could be trade, there could be other ways of defining that, unless, and this is what we're suggesting to clarify in the policy, there are, quote, extraordinary circumstances involved. And so that normally it would be fair market value if you're dealing with a private sector or private interests, in which we are in this case. The request would be for the sale price to be based on fair market value, which is usually determined by an independent appraisal. Now, as part of after September, we in applying the policy to this recommendation, did commission an appraisal. Now, the fair market value appraisal. The county shows the property as having value. It has the assessed value of approximately $98,000 on that entire 29-acre parcel. The fair market value that was resulted from the independent survey, which is part of your backup package, is 2.4 million. But that's why we'll at some point we need to, as a board, you as a board need to discuss and we have attempted to support that discussion by providing background information about what does value mean when you're talking about these, that there are both appraised value and assessed value have been recognized as appropriate value to be assigned to real property. It depends on the circumstances. I think in this case, it's our recommendation that it's up to the board in terms of what kind of value you would assign. And in this cases, we've got two values. We've got one assessed value, one appraised value. The nature of the circumstances that the Attorney General, for example, in Florida, has recognized that the determination of value is a, quote, legislative decision. Legislative decisions are reasonable decisions that elected officials have to make based on evidence, information that's available to them, some logical, reasonable information that explains what they're doing. It just can't be arbitrary and capricious to assign a value. And that's a factual issue. So it would, between the information that you have and that the community will give you in testimony on this decision, or comment upon the decision if to declare property surplus and have it divested as public property, that information and what staff can provide in terms of suggestions about the unique nature of this property, you can call on the engineer, you can call on your staff, people who are familiar. Your attorney can help structure the discussion to satisfy the minimum legal, hopefully not only the minimum legal requirements, but what the legal requirements are. But those requirements would be to satisfy the terms of the Constitution, that you're not just benefiting private interests with no, quote, value being received back. You can discuss issues dealing with the burdens of maintaining the property. You can discuss, I think it's appropriate to talk about issues of what the future holds in terms of, if this is private property, it would be subject to assessment. It's not currently subject to assessment. You'll be getting revenues, which you're not getting, have never gotten from ownership of this property.
For how many years?
Since 2001.
Right.
So you'll
24
be
years.
you'll be possibly relieving yourself of liability for people's injury, for accidents, you got roads going through there, for example, and you have that kind of issue on any of your roads. But you have, for example, I've looked at aerials recently that show extensive use of the northernmost parcel off of 60th, it looks like, with off-road vehicles of some sort. There's like trails all over the place. So people are accessing the property and using it for activities that might be considered somewhat risky. Anyway, those are some of the factual issues that you could consider. And I'm not suggesting what they necessarily are, but the staff and Mr. Hansen, for example, has identified some issues which he'll bring to your attention when we get around to discussing that matter. Now, we don't need to resolve this tonight because you have not had a chance to fully digest it since you only got the package today. And the same is true for the landowners. To be fair to them, they need to consider what they're buying here. So, I mean, that requires information. So even though this isn't a private market situation necessarily, some of the same issues are raised where people have equal information, so they can make a reasoned decision about whether you want to get, as a board, want to divest yourself of this property, and they, as landowners, want to acquire it, because there are obligations that come along with ownership of any real property. And I did mention this to the landowner's representative, Mr. Sweet. So, and I'm sure he'll have some comments on the approach. And I also want to thank him for taking so much effort and spending so much effort to work directly with the landowners, because there's a lot of people, as you'll see. Now, I don't have access to the screens in terms of information from the background in the staff report. I'm not sure who does control any of that. There are exhibits. There's some of the exhibits. Scarlett, can you do that? Can you show things on the screen?
I can, you just need to let me know what.
The exhibits are in order. Attachments to the staff report, the main, which staff report just at the moment says, please see attached memo. The memo is the first document attached. That's the memo. It summarizes some of the issues. I can't see. Oh. I apologize for getting about that. Well, that, okay, well, that's one of the documents. That's not the first document. There's a memo. Click on page 3 or something. There it is. That's the memo. I just went through some of the background portion of it, and then and I also went through the discussion of the resolution 2025-19. And then the next one is the discussion of issues that are kind of unresolved that we need board guidance on before we can go forward with completing the document package. Now, and let me just I'll just highlight some of the issues that we'd ask the board to consider, just so, because they're decisions that the staff and your professional consultants cannot resolve. That these are really policy issues for the board or business issues for the board to determine. Could you move it up a little bit, Scarlett? Just that way. All right. Okay, keep going. All right, there we go. Board discussions require decisions and direction. We have one of the requirements in the policy is that the district engineer give an opinion on whether the property should be considered to be surplus, which he has done. But I'll need to finalize it. We had some just editorial changes and things to clarify. Essentially, Mr. Foy has come up with a proposed subdivision plan for the property. And if we did jump ahead, there's a plan. It's in beautiful color. Just kind of go past this memo and just go down. Keep going. Oh, no, next, that's just the aerial. That just shows you where the property is between 60th and Persimmon. And then keep going. Although then we get into the resolutions and stuff. So that very pretty colored map, there we go. And I apologize, these things are on like engineering scale. So this is a better version than, and I, through my own initiative, went through and assigned essentially treated this as if this were a subdivision, a formal subdivision where each parcel would be identified. In this case, it basically is and there's 3 sheets because it's so long, it's 1.3 miles. We've had to break it down into 3 separate sheets beginning, and I presented it from going from the north at 60th Street down on the 3rd sheet. It ends at Persimmon, and that identifies the lots. Can we? If we can. That would be great. Oop. Technology here. That's okay. There you go. Yeah. Now that's the middle one. So there's one sheet. That's the middle sheet. So that if you go, that's the middle one. If you go up, the next one up is going to be the beginning, starting at 60th Street. Yeah, there you go. All right. So if we start at 60th Street, there's color coding here. It's all very colorful. Red lots that are outlined in red are lots that are not judged by the district engineer and district staff to be surplus and would be retained by the district. We had previously talked about the lot, and I labeled the red. There are 28 lots. There are also what I'm calling tracks, which are essentially the roadways and maybe a canal here and there that are between lots that are going to be in blue. They're also shown in red, but they are roadways that we're going to be retaining the fee interest. The district owns the entire parcel in fee, and will be. It is recommended that it could be, if the board chooses, to dispose of all of the parcels that are lined in blue, but will retain all of the parcels and tracks, which I'm calling. We don't see any tracks yet. All right. So if they have a number on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are parcels of land, new parcels being created that are the engineer and staff have determined that could be declared surplus because they don't have any immediate use or any proposed or projected use for satisfying the purposes of the district, either for drainage, roadways. They're not necessary for, they really haven't, they don't have an identified use. They're not in water control plans, for example, at the present time. That would be, property that's shown in a water control plan has a designated use. That's like either for drainage or for roadways or for parks. So the A and B are, A is a lot. If you look at the northern edge of it, it's the M Canal, and there are proposals in the future to improve the connection between the canal, the district canal that's north-south, and which continues north on the other side of the M Canal. There's a what do you call it? A siphon, reverse siphon that goes underneath the. Our water goes underneath the district's water through a big culvert. But there are going to be improvements in the future. Also, Palm Beach County owns 60th Street corridor, and they will be expanding it over a long period of time, apparently, up to 5 lanes. So there's going to be changes on the boundaries all along that boundary. All right. So, and then the lot that shows B is a lot that is currently being used, or a portion of the FPL parcel is currently being used for storage of bulk storage of like fill material and some other. The staff could better explain what it is, but it actually has an active use at the moment. Oh, can we go to the next slide down? All right. So now I just sort of ease it up a little bit so we can see a little bit more of it. All right, so here we get into, there's lots 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. Now the red, the little narrow red, I have called tracks, like T1, T2, T3 track. Those are roadways that are owned. I mean, everything's owned. They're not distinguished as they're functionally distinguished as roadways on the property, but they're not set aside as separate parcels. So in this case, a track, usually when you're dealing with like if this were a major planned unit development, every little roadway would be set aside as a lot, essentially, when called a tract. As distinguished from a parcel, which would be sold to the private interest, like your lot in your house in a PUD. So I don't get overly technical here, but I'm just trying to distinguish what we're keeping from what we're getting rid of. Now, and you can see there's some rather small lots here. The 9 and 10, it was a good idea. I mean, I think the district engineer was attempting to square off the corners. In terms of the philosophy, what's going on here is, when this Unit 14 was created, for some unknown reason, the developer divided the lots, some of the lots between the east side and the west side. So it's, if you see just a straight number, 3, 4, 5, that means that lot is on both sides. That it's the same. There's an owner. The same owner is on both the east and the west, and never owned the middle. And all up and down this corridor for this 1.3 miles, these strange configurations were created. Now, if you had, if I look at 6 and 7, lots 6 and 7, for some reason, the developer didn't have a lot on both sides. I'm sure it was for profit reasons. And our solution was, we'll divide it 50-50. Slice it half to one landowner and the half to the other. And so if we continue down, you'll see the same kind of pattern.
Frank, can I ask you a quick question
Yes,
on that? So for example, 5, and if you're going off of Papa here, number 5 is the Carol Lynn Trust, it looks like, and they're on both sides. So then you go down, like you were just saying, 6 and 7 is split. So on one side you have Roberto Boza, on the other side Catherine Lovett. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what happens if let's say one of them doesn't want it? Let's say 7 doesn't want it, but 6 wants both.
That's a policy decision that's on my list that the board needs to determine. I mean, what do we do if somebody rejects it? I mean, is this all or nothing?
So to be rejected, and we could possibly say, okay, 7 rejected is 6. Do you want both?
Right.
And then but if you get weird segments where things are, sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, this is on the list.
We were there with.
We're going to be getting there,
So-
but yes, those are the kind of policy decisions. We've been operating under the assumption, and Mr. Sweet has been attempting to basically herd cats, I think, by getting everybody to sign on, at least informally, to the maximum amount. And he can talk about to the extent to which he's already got consensus among, I don't know if he has everybody, but he has apparently quite a few. But we'll need to talk about that. And if for some reason that happens, and we can't force people to sign a contract for purchasing the property, if they choose not to, we can't force them. They don't want to, wouldn't be able to force them. But it's basically the more the property is, there's an explanation for why we're getting rid of it, and we're not keeping something that's odd. We're expanding our odd property where we don't really have an identified use for it. If they refuse, we're going to have to keep it, or if too many people refuse, this whole thing could fall apart. I mean, that's basically a decision that we're going to have to go through another stage to get in writing essentially written contracts with each of these landowners to bind them. There has to be once we come up with a formula for the price, then we'll make an offer and there has to be an acceptance. This is just classic contract law.
Sure.
Offer and acceptance. And that's true for real estate as it's true for anything else. Well, we can try to think about what these contingencies might be. That's one of them. And again, there's some, like, if you look at lot 10, which is a new little lot, lot 10 is
Yeah.
owned by, let's see, I have a table that's also that I've identified the individual land. Lot 10
Martinez.
it's 12549 Sunset Boulevard. It's only 947 square feet. It's 947. Or in terms of statistics, a little bit of statistics here. We've got you've got 29.828 acres. That translates into 1,299,307 square feet. We've identified 28 lots and 10 tracks. The tracks are all roads or canals. Those are little narrow strips that sandwich between the lots. Now, of the 28 lots, 2 are to be retained, so that's 26 lots. They range in size from that smallest one, number 10 is the smallest, at it's 0.022 acres. It's 947 square feet. The largest is 65,212 square feet, or 1.497 acres. So there's some substantial lots in there.
Okay.
And actually, my table is attached to the handout that I gave you. That pulled out that particular table. So and as we keep going down, basically the same pattern is repeated until we've got 26. You can see the 26 lots. We're keeping our last tract 10 is Persimmon Boulevard. We currently own, it's actually half of Persimmon Boulevard. It's the north half of that 100 of that whatever it is, 186 feet of road. In part because we believe we should continue to retain that in fee. You never know. And the general philosophy is if we own a road, we're not going to trade a fee ownership for an easement interest. We were stuck with easements because that's what the Royal Palm Beach Colony gave to us. But that's not what a modern subdivision would ever do. It wouldn't create easements for roadways that serve the public like this. But that's the system that we have. But where we don't have to give it up, we're going to keep the fee interest here. Yes, ma'am.
Well, do we have public comment cards, not on agenda?
Not on the agenda.
Oh, it's 7:30. Yes, sorry.
Is this just for Jen? Is it for this one?
Right, talked about the other person, the engineer.
We have 2 to speak and 1 that came in via email.
No, I just.
Okay,
We're keeping it.
We wanted to go switch to.
yeah, well, because it's 7:30, so sorry, Frank, I hate
No,
to
no,
cut you off in the middle, but I'll give everybody
I
a
can-
chance to absorb what you've already said as well.
I can use a break too.
Yeah.
Switch to that real quick. Hope Powell.
Hang on.
Your site, because I, along with many families, truly value the tradition of the Oakland Holiday Parade. This event has brought joy, community pride, and connection, and I believe our community will future for its citizens. I fully understand the challenges with the turnout and logistics. Sorry, I fully understand the challenges with the turnout and logistics in the previous events, and I want to offer a solution rather than just a request. I'm volunteering to take on the community outreach needed to ensure strong participation from schools, youth groups, clubs, sports teams, local businesses, and families. I've already been in contact with many organizations who are excited and ready to join the parade if it moves forward. I'm also willing to increase my studio's sponsorship to the platinum level to help financially offset the added expenses required for safety and event operations. My goal is simply to help support the district and help bring something that residents clearly want. With the right communication and organization, I truly believe that we can make this year's Christmas parade a success and set the foundation for future years.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hope. And I saw your post. Excuse me. And thank you. And thank you for all you did for Halloween.
Yes.
And all you're wanting to do for Christmas. I think it's amazing. And I am absolutely all for it. And then I want to talk to you later about this because I'm in some communication where we could try to save some money too. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yes, thank you. Yeah. Keep the traditions alive, right?
Lou Calantoni.
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to remind everybody that since 1992, the Acreage Landowners Association has had the responsibility of its charter, and the county recognized Acreage Neighborhood Plan as a responsibility that it carries seriously for the citizens and landowners out here in the acreage. And we've taken on a lot of battles over the years, some of which have been quite important and we've had large community turnout for, like being able to stop the county from its plans to attach roads to 140th and turn 40th Street along the canal into a 4-lane highway with an intersection at Royal Palm Beach Boulevard terminating at State Road 7. We had a great hand in stopping that and had over 230 people show up at the county chambers to do so. We also had a lot to do and had many residents show up to protect our zoning and our land rights when we helped shoot down the proposal that was made at the county to change our zoning to allow 2 tractor trailers on every 1.25 acre of property out here in the area, which would drastically change the look and the feel and the ruralness of our area. The Landowners Association was there to fight for that. We are fighting right now, and we have helped delay the developer who's wants to put in West End Crossing on Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Once again, the Landowners Association is there to protect the citizens from this growth and development and to keep these things in check. We're the watchdogs. We're watching it. We did not allow, and we protected and defended against the building of an ATV park and campground way out west in the western end of our community that would have overstressed dirt roads and caused traffic situations that would be a safety problem. We got that put away. And we also are continuing to defend and monitor weekly and monthly dozens of proposals that come forth at the county level, put forth by developers that want to use our roads and run their traffic through our roads. We have a lot of responsibilities. There's been a lot of great people on this board over the decades. We'd like to welcome Jay Sweet to the board and Carl Shackelford, who's a journalist that has joined our board. Our membership is up. We're here to try to protect the community. We're here to try to work with you guys. We reached out to ITID with Burgess to try to put together a communication on how we could work together. It just didn't seem to work out right now. I'd like to reach out and try to have another meeting about this because we are chartered by the community to stand for the residents and watch over government and to guide the future of the acreage forward on other matters on the municipal level. You should be working with us because we need to be watching you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The email from Jericho Ryan. It says, to whom it may concern, my husband and I have only lived in our home for 5 years, and you are going to cause us to have to sell and move away. From the first year, your costs have risen from $700 per year to now an astounding $1,800. For what? We have to personally pick up the nails and screws off our dirt road, get bitten up by mosquitoes that you guys don't treat. We have old culverts in the street that hasn't been dredged in years. Our roads look like bad, and traffic is worse.
I think we all know what that was.
Where is our money going? Stop increasing this. Stop increasing this. Please tell us whom do we need to reach out to complain and report? There have to be rights we all have against this sort of inflation. $1,800 per year is more than our friends pay inside HOAs. Does not give an address.
Is there a phone number?
No, but they sent it via emails.
Okay, will you forward that to me and I'll reach out to her tomorrow?
Sure. And that was it as far as. Good.
I could give that address to Scarlett, and I'm gonna email her tomorrow and see what's going on. I don't know that it went up. We have to look at past history. I'm sure it didn't double in just 1 year, but we'll look into it. As far as mosquitoes, that's the county, but we'll take a look at the roadway as well. Any other, Scarlett? Nope. Okay. All right. Thank you, public. Frank, you ready to get back on there?
Back on. I think we're done with the subdivision plan, and we can go back to the memo. Yeah, that's it. Can you advance it down? Back to board, it says board discussion. Required decisions and direction. Oh, there we go. All right. So we've already touched on a couple of the issues that need to have some guidance. the board to give us some guidance. Now, before we make a final decision, which I would suggest which should be really reserved to the next meeting. But in the meantime, if the board members would think about, and staff can also think about, assisting in how you would define what extraordinary circumstances exist, because we would need, at the time you make a final decision, to put on the record some of the circumstances and the facts that would guide your interpretation and your advice on what these extraordinary circumstances would be. Now, I've already mentioned the unusual characteristics of the property. It's subject to the FP&L easement. You can't build on it. Isn't necessarily, even though it's typical to use fair market value in an open market, this is really not that kind of circumstance. That's just for example. The next issue that I highlighted was, okay, just to confirm, we're going to use gross square footage as the basis for calculating a sale price. And the table that attached to these summary documents shows you how many square feet each one of the lots are, as well as an acreage calculation. We're using the square footage, not the acreage. The next issue is, or then this is really sort of a major one that we would also ask the board to reflect on between now and the next meeting, is the basis for determining value. As I mentioned, we already have identified both an assessed value and an appraised value. The question eventually will be which one would be most appropriate in this circumstance if there are extraordinary circumstances. And now the next issue is a calculation of reimbursement costs. We had discussed throughout that the landowners had committed to reimbursing costs, but we don't have a calculation yet and I think before a decision gets made, that we end up with someone, and the staff would have to do this, I think, is calculate the costs that have been invested in moving this forward from a certain date. I guess we really need to decide. We've been talking about this for quite some time. I don't know, it certainly wouldn't be fair to go back, 2 years, however long it was, and then add that on as costs. But at some point when it became, our direction became maybe in September of this year, from that point forward, when the board gave us that direction, we might calculate costs from that
I
point.
would agree with that.
I'd suggest anyway. Next, now in attached to the resolution 2025-20 is a proposed contract form and a couple of the closing documents that would go along with this. Now, I'll pat myself on the back. I kept it to 2 pages.
Thank you.
It's not a FAR bar contract, Florida Bar, Florida Board of Realtors contract. But nevertheless, it's 2 pages. There are some things that would have to be in a contract. We have to have a price. We have to identify the property. It has to be in writing. And I said that the real estate contracts, to be enforceable, must be in writing. Oral contracts. It's just basic law, property law, is that oral contracts to sell real property are not enforceable. And so we'll have to approach each of the landowners directly with an offer. And at the moment, we haven't defined all the terms, so we can fill in the blanks. Now, in the backup is as part of as an example, is the contract with the highlighted areas that need to be filled in. And we'll do that once the board actually finally decides on what the package is going to be. We've also, just to confirm, the landowners are going to retain their own title or escrow agent. We, the district's council, is not going to be preparing any of those documents. we probably will just monitor to make sure their forms are properly filled out. And also we'll be responsible for getting the board president, whoever is going to be signing the contracts to, just make sure before you sign that they're properly done. Just to confirm this, all the surplus lots that we're getting rid of are going to be subject to the same 1957 FP&L power line easement. So we can't change that. And I've also suggested that in order to expedite closings, because there's a lot of moving parts here, we've got 26, we'll have 26 real estate contracts going simultaneously that unless there's an issue comes up, unless it relates to or affects the sale price, that the executive director be able to, with the board's permission, be able to basically execute those kind of minor changes in any kind of, we don't know what's going to come up yet. Names changes, people sell property. We don't know what's ongoing out there at the moment in terms of land sales and things. And so that is one of our recommendations. That's in one of the elements of the resolution is to authorize Mr. Hanson to make those kind of limited contract changes. Now, additional board guidance requested, and these are some of the couple of key issues. Is there going to be a drop dead date? Use that term. That the offers have to be accepted by a certain date. The holidays are coming up. People are going to be distracted. I don't know. We're ending up here at the end of the year. And I think there should be at some point, we can't let this thing drag on forever. I don't think the landowners want to do that either, but, and it doesn't have to be a, absolute drop dead, but we really need to move things along at some point. And again, which was mentioned earlier, what if there are holdouts or declining in the offer, declines to accept the offer? Again, we can't force people to sign contracts. So we just have to have some notion of what would happen if, a lot here and a lot there along this 1.3 miles decides we don't want it, or it falls through for some reason. Who knows? Somebody gets a divorce and they can't, I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out here. We could end up with a pattern that would be burdensome in the future to the district, unnecessarily burdensome. Should there be a deposit? I think there should be. I've recommended it, but it'd be a percentage of whatever the contract price would be.
It's common.
A percentage. I mean, people should have at least the offer and the acceptance should be firm, and that one way to do that is to require and demand somebody that the landowner put a little skin in the game too. Mm-hmm. And if it did fall through, then they would, as a typical real estate contract, they would lose the deposit. And now I've got a recommended covenant. I looked at the issue I had mentioned in our earlier hearing meeting on this, that we and the policy allows it that the district can impose its own restrictive covenants on the property that it's selling. I looked through Palm Beach County's ULDC for the zoning for the AR zone. And there's lots of, and this property is zoned AR, agricultural residential. There are lots of uses in the AR zone that would be very objectionable if they could be built here, but you can't build anything. I mean, we're not dealing with putting in large scale agricultural processing plants or anything like that, which some of which are permitted even in the AR zone. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I came up with was trucks, which is a current topic, large trucks. I don't think the district wants to be in a position of encouraging on property that it owns their conversion to parking or storage of large-scale commercial vehicles, heavy commercial vehicles. However, we're not land use regulators. We don't have code enforcement powers. We, if you have a violation of restrictive covenant, then the burden is on the district to pursue it in court, to enforce it. I don't think we want to be in that kind of, and not in a, like an administrative hearing the way code enforcement is, but in a circuit court. I think the board may want to consider making a statement about the use of that there be consistent rules essentially throughout the acreage on this issue of truck parking. Once this property is sold, it's going to be private property. And what my recommended covenant is that until such time as the lot we're selling is joined to the adjacent landowner's parcel with a unity of title.
If they do that, because they're doing that.
Yes, that's not our responsibility. But I mean, I think that we've assumed that people will basically add this acreage to their existing lot, which you have to do with a recordable instrument. The county has a form for it. And then it becomes one parcel as a matter of ownership, basically, on county records for assessment purposes or whatever. But that is not something that we will require. We're just creating an incentive to do it. So until that time, that as a unity of title is recorded, they can have that landowner could have one Class 3.
So basically whatever the
Commercial
county
vehicle.
code is.
Yes, I'm just.
So it's no different, right?
Yeah, we're following the county
right.
code. And then,
Okay.
and then once then this condition will expire once the unity of title is recorded, and then it goes away for that parcel, not for the whole thing, but
Right.
parcel by parcel.
Regardless, they're still bound to the county codes.
And then it goes back to whatever the county is going to come up with eventually for code enforcement. We're not zoning authorities. We definitely don't want to get into the enforcement business, but so that concludes my presentation. You can see that there's just a number of policy issues that that we have to, as a board, consider and give us some guidance on.
Okay, Mr. Hanson, did you want to add to that?
Yes. if I
Okay,
may.
of course.
I'll try to not be as long and certainly won't be as articulate as Mr. Palin, but I do want to talk about some of the benefits of the district's benefits to actually supersede those values that have been attached either through assessed valuation or through the appraisal process. In order for us board really to look at either significantly lower cost or no cost to the adjacent property owners. I've outlined approximately 10 or 11, and I'll share them with you formally, but I wanted to just go over them, if that's okay. So the first one is this property is not formally part of a water control plan or a specific capital project. It has very limited use for ITID functions with the exception of perhaps a multimodal trail other than the two properties that Mr. Palin earlier identified that we could use for storage or potential future use along the M1 Canal in 60th Street North. The Equestrian Trail Committee, while they didn't take a formal vote, they determined, I think informally, that it's not an appropriate corridor for an equestrian trail. You know, at the last meeting, I believe Mr. Robinson, Mr. Foy, and I talked about the perpetual care and maintenance that you're talking about a compounding of $25,000 to $30,000 a year just based on maintaining it. You know, that doesn't include any vandalism or
Or the fencing of
that.
2 and point
Yep.
whatever miles.
Yeah. And then there's cost avoidance of capital projects, including that, 100,000 or so that we would have to put towards
At
fencing.
least.
And that would just be bare minimum fencing. And so that would not be decorative fencing or even chain link, probably just be field wide with gates for FPL access. And then there's unknown amount of, and you, depending on what the capital project is, if future boards decide they want to do something, if there's not only the upfront capital cost of doing that, there's also whatever that capital improvement is, there'll be perpetual maintenance on that capital improvement. Again, it's very limited what the district could put there. And then, again, I spoke to this, but should stand on its own. There's a ton of future liabilities, trespassers, misuse of property by trespassers, vandalisms, or other types of damages. Use as an off-road vehicle course, which weren't, I think Mr. Panlin brought up earlier, the northern property that we actually want to retain, but we would fence that in. And then that also not only poses liability to us, but it also creates, unfair quality of life issues for the adjacent landowners. We also, which is a segue into the next one, prevents potential future litigation from adjacent landowners about any use or misuse or any other types of impact or a lack of upkeep on behalf of the district in the future. Also, illegal dumping, it can occur as well, and just not for residential debris, but for construction or even hazardous materials. And you just don't know, and it just takes once. And if it's hazardous or anything like that, then that's on us and the taxpayers of the district. And then another one, and it's not so much a benefit for us, but it is a real problem for at least one or two of the property owners. And Mr. Panlin in his map where he was showing where owners have on both sides of it. But what has happened is I know of at least one code issue that was identified by planning and zoning where you had a house on one side and an accessory structure, I believe it was a barn or maybe a garage on the other side. Because they're not connected, it's actually a potential code violation. Right. So this would help ratify that. But then on the flip side of that, we have where at least one example of where a landowner partially built a deck on our property, which is a code issue for the taxpayers of this district as well. So those are about 10 or 11 right off, top of my head. And I know Mr. Foy, certainly probably has some other information he wants to share. But to me, there is no value to this district, no strategic value to this district in keeping this property or doing anything with charging an exorbitant amount and selling it to the adjacent landowners. I think we're at a point where we're retaining the property and the tracks that we need to, that we use functionally now, and the rest should go at, again, minimum cost. It's a net liability to the district.
I agree.
That's my God.
And then, and on top of that, we've been missing out on almost 25 years of tax revenue. Sorry, guys, but
and that compounds. Depending, it can go
Right.
up or down.
Right.
So,
Mr. Foy.
Yes, thank you. There's an advantage to be following these two. I don't have to say a whole lot. Frank did mention safety. I think that's one of the biggest concerns, and I'm commenting from an engineer's perspective, not from an administrator's or legal perspective. I'm limiting my comments to my profession and what I could testify to. Safety, safety, safety. It's a big issue. The second, just a clarification that Frank didn't mention, but knows that we have defined the quote tracks for the roads where the roads exist. Not where you have easements. Some of these roads are not in, I'm sorry, it's not an easement. Some of the roads are not where the unrecorded plat extrapolated out shows they are, or where the survey is that was contracted separately show them. So these descriptions that we had recently had done correct that. Make sure that you know we are not trying to correct all of the issues outside of the 185-foot FPL track. We're just correcting them inside. The last item I'll mention is in the engineer statement. I state not only is it not in the any water control plan or any directed plan, I can't find a way that in anything I envision that the benefit cost requirement in Florida statutes could be met with any proposed plan. So I can't see that this land is useful to the district, and that's why I yielded the opinion it's surplus. That's all I have to add. Thank you.
Okay, Michael?
No, I just had questions on, going forward if, I'm sure Mr. C will get him to speak to it, but how many are, want and how many are absolutely against it? And then how many are just waiting to see if there's a price or what the price is or, something like that matter. If there's anybody that just doesn't want anything to do with it. And then what do we do if we get stuck with pieces? Can we offer, if it's a split lot, can we offer it to the neighbor next to them?
Actually,
Things like that.
I had a meeting this Saturday and I sent letters out, invited everybody to come. I had 6 call me and talk to me. I had 10 show up in a meeting. I've had 2 call me since. So within the last few days, I've talked to 18 of the individual property owners. So, and then I started walking around yesterday and knocking on some doors just to make sure. My last I've heard, there are 2 people who are not sure. Okay. One says he doesn't have any money. So obviously cost is a factor. And the other one is like, well, what does that mean? And they just didn't seem like they were sure what to do. And that happens to be people who already have 2.5 acres, and they would be one of those little triangle pieces and so forth. I would say a couple things here. One, I think that, and my property is one where my neighbor who was sitting next to me, who left her already, they definitely want the half, but I want the half. It's not a problem. But if for some reason they said, no, I don't have the money, I don't want it, I would buy it. I think it should be, I think you have to connect. So if you're in that top tier, or you're in the bottom tier, or you're immediately across the road, I think that should be okay. I wouldn't want to see you selling it to somebody who lives 12 streets away or something. That doesn't make any sense, and that sort of defeats what we're trying to do for the neighborhood.
Right.
I don't think that will be the case. We've actually had a few people offer to help people for
Very
that.
nice.
Okay, so this has been a community effort. There are a couple people who they don't know. As a matter of fact, on the corner of 120th Persimmon, he finally came to the meeting. I had given him letters. He said, "Man, I thought you were scamming me."
Oh,
Okay, because he bought the property after this whole thing started, and he's getting these letters. He's like, "You're scamming me." And I said, "No, come on down." And so he just left a few minutes ago. He was here, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in, absolutely." My only comment would be that I totally disagree with the appraisal because I think they skipped a step. Because within the appraisal, it says if you are on a transmission line, the property should be devalued between 90 and 100%. If I take 95% of the value they came up with, lo and behold, I'm within $10,000 or $15,000 what the county says it was.
Right.
Okay, so to me, I used to teach a seminar on how to take exams, and I used to tell people all the time, when you take exams, make sure you did the last step, because there's always the answer that the last step, where you didn't convert to square feet or whatever, is there. And, you know, and that's to trick you up. And I've made my point on that. There are people who are going to say, what is the price? And that's the thing I have no to tell anybody. Originally, I told everybody, I said, the way that your document works, the current document you have, we would use under 100,000. We would use the appraised value, divide it by square footage, and go from there. We have an attorney that has agreed to give us a great deal on doing the closing, as long as he can do them all at one time. So this isn't going to drag out. Either people are going to have the money or not, because can you get some? You know, I know you all won't do it for $350 a person, a parcel. Okay, that's just, I use my connections to reach out to some people and say, what can you do for us? Here's what's happening. And I've got somebody lined up, but at the same point in time, I need, to make sure that everybody's on board, because he's not going to do this as one a day. He's not going to give us that kind of a volume discount. So there's where we're at. I would say this to you. I have not looked at the new square footages. I didn't see them. Yesterday, I didn't look at my emails, so that's my bad. Your staff sent them to me. Frank sent them to me yesterday, the new square footages. I didn't look at them until just before I came, but it appears that there's 90 acres and we're a little shy of 60. So my question to you is, what is your rate for that unit per acre? Obviously, it'll be prorated out, but what is your rate per acre? And if there's 60 acres, that's the revenue you're going to get. So if it's $500 an acre, that's $30,000 additional you'll be getting every year. And one of the things that Mr. Palin did in his proposed contract, he makes it very clear, you need to be aware that your taxes may increase, you need to do the research. And I actually appreciate that he put that in there. I've been telling everybody the same thing, but telling them and have them seeing it in writing can be different. I don't think that we're that far apart. I had proposed legals that were just a simple bounded by legal. Mr. Foy looked at it, and I think he saw what I was doing. There was the problem with the roads where those humongous curves are. I'm glad to see that you've done that. As it's laid out in use, is actually the verbiage I was using, but this way you've actually documented the laid out in use. So, but I do agree with your staff. The value and liability, if I was take off my hat here and put my hat over here, if I was advising you, I would advise that you have to really look at that liability of people just driving their side-by-sides and motorcycles flying through there and not even looking in some cases if anybody's coming before they jump across the street because there was fences there before. And with regard to that, some of those fences were there before you all got the property. Some of those fences had permits issued by Palm Beach County. And so we've done some research, and if this becomes impossible, there are people who are concerned about what are the routes to take. I don't think this is an impossible situation. I think that we have come here and over the period of time, we figured out what it could be. It would be a net benefit to, I think, the district, at least from a revenue standpoint. And I happen to agree wholeheartedly with Burgess and Jay, and that is the liability that you have here. If somebody gets killed because they're doing something stupid, unless you are fencing and you're doing other things, but then that's a huge cost. I mean, I think the last number I heard to fence it off would be like 90 grand.
At least. Yeah,
So-
and that's just like you said, wire. Thank you, Jay.
If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to address them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty?
I think I would say Mr. Sweet has definitely given his his point, and I think he speaks for everybody very eloquently. I want to thank Mr. Sweet for having reasonable, respectful discussions here, with a resolution, with coming here with ideas on how, and bringing your community together to discuss this, allowing the district the needed time between the district staff and our attorneys, engineer to review this and be patiently waiting. I appreciate the community for waiting very patiently on this. It is something that I think is not so cut and dry, and we need to make sure we're not only protecting you as owners, but the district also. So I want to thank everybody for their patience and being reasonable and listening on both sides of the fence on this. So thank you. So one of the questions, some of them were already answered, but the one that keep coming back to is, how do we prevent, like Mr. Sweet mentioned earlier, you know, we don't want somebody 12 streets away to purchase the property. So how do we stop that? How do we, somebody says, you know what, I don't want to have to pay the taxes on it anymore. I want to just sell it. Maybe they get somebody that'll buy it for $1,000 or what. Do we want that? Are we preventing that? How are we preventing that?
In other
Two
words,
questions going on.
Sorry.
of
All right.
sale.
Yeah.
Can we
Do-
put something in the
Do we want to
deed?
prevent that?
Right, can we put something,
If I may, real quick, let me ask some plans.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the value to the adjacent property owners. There is no value to us unless we file a unity of title. Because that unity of title gives us some relief on a side setback. That's the only value that it presents to us from zoning. So the other thing that you've done is you put a deed restriction there, it goes away when the unity of title is filed. Once that unity of title is filed, the property can't be separated.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
that is really a key element to this.
So we're enforcing that. Are we enforcing the unity of title?
I don't think you can actually enforce it, but I think
Right.
you've quasi enforced it by putting a restriction on there that if they want to get rid of that restriction, they got to file the unity of title.
Trying to create an incentive rather than.
Incentivize.
I don't think we can. Well, I mean, people could agree to impose a unity of title, then that would be a condition of the contract that we would have to enforce the condition if it weren't.
Because let's say in
Honored.
5 years, somebody sells their property, new owner gets it, right? So that part of the property will convey to the new owner, even though it's not a unit, the property has not been unified, let's say. That person
Well-
buys it and says, well, you know what, I want to sell it just so I don't have to pay the property tax on it. Who knows how much the property tax is? I'm just saying, but I'm saying if they don't do the unity, if they don't unify it, right?
So I think
yeah, hold on, because nobody can hear the audio, yeah, sorry.
So I don't want to,
Well-
I'm not throwing wrenches. I just want to, I'm just asking the question.
I'm
So
not
we're making,
sure
looking at
in
this.
the future, if it's sold, it's not the district's problem,
Okay.
really. I mean, we're divesting ourselves of all responsibility except for the pieces that we're keeping.
Okay.
It wouldn't be any worse than it is a parcel of land, and you've got plenty of examples already on the west side where there are other parcels, which Jay mentioned, we're not correcting every
Mhm.
screwy thing that the developer did in terms of routing roads through here. And there's a whole bunch of parcels along the west side that are owned by two companies that are like the residue, I guess, of what was there from the developer, and they're not active. They have an office in Miami. They have two of them. They're both in Miami. I don't even know if they're real anymore. But they own the title, and it ends up being a county problem at some point.
Okay.
Or not. It's what the county just doesn't do is it doesn't enforce, it doesn't try to take the property because it doesn't have any value. It'll be just like they did before, except they'll end up with it perhaps in the future.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Again, Mr. Sweet, thank you for all your time and efforts that you put into this. So thank you.
Yes.
Could I just a one clarification that or follow up to the price that was mentioned. We had also talked about reimbursement of costs
Mhm.
and picking a date. We have to pick I suggested from the September meeting
I
forward.
would agree with that. Does everybody agree with that?
But we do have to do a calculation of those costs, and it can be a matter of discussion with the board. But if once you settle on what cost you want to be reimbursed for, then they should be prorated on the same basis as the acreage.
Mr. Palin, can you go into that just a little bit more? Reimbursement of costs, reimbursement of.
Well, we got legal fee. We've been engineering fees, basically engineering fees and legal fees, our legal fees. Now and I just want to emphasize that our firm represents the board and the district. We are not in any way soliciting any business doing these closings. So that's
It's
off
on
the table.
on the
So
landowners.
it's entirely up to they've
Right.
found a gentleman who's willing to do it if you can do it all at once. I mean, record them all at once. So we're not getting involved in that. The only thing I want to do is we'll put the package together. If he's going to record everything at once, just let us look at the package.
Yeah, you've got to review it before we decide it. Okay, very good. All right, so it looks like the first thing we need to do.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
If I can just follow up with.
Oh, yeah,
the
of
answer.
course.
Yeah, so the easy thing is we would just go back and track the time that Mr. Palin or his team or Mr. Foy put into it, and then we would charge. We would not charge for my time or anything, any of the soft costs related to that. Yeah. The only question I do have for the board is we did do the survey to identify these properties. So do you want to include that?
Yeah,
Or do you want to include it because we're also in a way where it's I'm not advocating for the landowners. I'm just trying to move this thing along
So-
where the survey
Okay.
is paid half by them and half by the district.
I
Because-
can agree with that. Under the circumstances, I can agree with that. Because normally the survey is borne by the buyer in a normal transaction, but this is far from a normal transaction, as we learned. So
Well, and there was an appraisal cost.
Right.
That the
So I
district
think,
paid.
I think we could split that. Are we good with that?
And the reason it was requested because the policy it says that if you're within
Right, which we're gonna.
arguably
fix
$100,000,
right now
which we
with this
were, I think.
Resolution, right. Michael, are you okay with splitting the costs of only the survey and the appraisal? Being 50/50?
Yes, I could say, do we know what that figure is?
The rate appraisal?
Yeah, I forget what it was for the appraisal off the top. I'd have to go back and give you an accurate number. So it wasn't. Do you recall, Mr.
I think it was like 4,500, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't
Yes, sir.
hugely expensive.
Okay. All right, so the first thing we need to do is fix resolution 2025-019. Correct?
If you wish to go forward, then it
Mhm.
would be a motion to adopt resolution 2025-019.
Okay. And we do have some public comment, but do we have a motion?
Are we making motion on this for both or just one for right now?
No, just the one.
For,
If I hit motion, it's just to go for number one. I keep hitting it. It's not.
It's to adopt resolution 2025-019. I'll just read the title.
Motion saying yes, it's gonna go blank and.
Okay, well, I've hit it twice now and it's not registered.
Hold on.
Through the chair, just before we get into that. I'm definitely not trying to complicate this tonight because Mr. Palin went over a lot. But I would like some at least general direction from the board so we can, from a staff perspective, try to work with Mr. Sweet, but also just internally, so I can work with the CFO, Mr. Foy, and then eventually legal. Where is that value for you? So we can get an idea. So because I think it makes it difficult for Mr. Sweet to determine, to go back to the landowners and say, well, we don't know what that value is.
Right.
Because there's a wide range here.
I understand. So in my opinion, in all the things that we've discussed, the liabilities and the costs and the upkeep and all of that, I would like to see it go for what the county assesses it at. And then adding in the cost split for the survey and the appraisal, and the landowners bearing whatever additional costs from our professionals. So that's just my thought there.
And that would be minus what we keep, so it would.
Correct. Only the square feet that they're getting.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever the assessed value is per square foot, as we discussed.
So we're saying at 89,393.
Yeah.
What's the, I mean, I don't have numbers in front of me. What does that break down?
Per square footage.
We gotta go by
Yeah.
square foot. We
Yeah.
can't do.
I tried
acre.
doing it on my calculator.
I mean, I just like to see
Yeah.
the square foot breakdown. of-
6.88 cents per square foot.
Six.
How
That's
much?
the count.
6.88
Yeah.
Well,
per
let's,
square foot.
we'll take that under advisement.
7 cents.
Mr. Sweet. So just, for instance, obviously you're well versed with this. So what's that going to cost you, your property with the size of your property at 6.88 cents per square foot?
So that works out to be about $4,000 an acre in round numbers. And so I think on mine, it's 25,000 square feet. So if I, round it to 7, it's going to cost about 14 plus another 35. So $1,750, $1,800 plus whatever the survey costs and other costs.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, through the chair, while we're waiting on that, if you would, just for clarification, the total parcel is 29.8 acres. The amount of land transferred would be, as currently proposed, 20 point, I think it's 1.2. It's just, so it's like 2/3 of the 89,000.
Right, because we still have the benefit of the parcels that we're keeping for our use and the roads.
The roads, canals,
Right.
and the 2 parcels we keep.
Right.
Once we have the formula, which is the board is what you're considering, which to use the appraised value, then we have to do individual calculations for each one of the lots.
Right.
Because
And that's the only
each
way
have
they can
separate-
really move forward, because unless we give them the cost, they can't move forward.
No, I agree.
I do apologize. Mr. Sweet, what did you, I got yours written down here. What did you say you calculated yours to be?
6.88 cents per square foot.
What was your total cost? Just so I got an idea.
Mine is off the top of my head, and the math in my head is like 1,750 plus whatever the additional costs are. If you own them both sides, it's going to be like 3,600.
The appraisal was $5,000. We checked there. I don't know how to get access to it, but
Okay.
Francis does.
Francis does. Thank you, Francis.
No, that was one of the questions. What is what would be their cost compared to the county appraisal that you're talking about versus the appraisal that we got? I just want to see the.
It would be a
These
huge difference. Did you
significantly-
calculate?
It would be cheaper to go, it'd be cheaper to have a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I just.
Because I think it was, what was it? 30
Let's just call it the way it is.
Like 33,000 an acre or something?
Well, it's $80,000 an acre.
2.4 million divided.
2.4 divided by
I
29.
know the numbers I saw was like 30.
I think it was,
Yeah.
Right.
That's-
Because I
Exactly.
thought that once they took
Yeah.
that out, they gave you the.
If you look at that appraisal, what it simply says, they reduced it by, they said that all the properties were 6 million, they reduced it to 4 million because they took it and reduced it by 60%. But within the appraisal, there's a chart from one of their manuals. It says that when it's a transmission line, generally you're looking at a reduction of between 90 and 100% of value. The 40 to 60% is only for a road. And so I think they made an error. I don't think it was intentional, but I think they, because one of the other things that's bothered me about that appraisal, they never came on site.
Yeah.
It's in the appraisal. And the second thing about the appraisal says there are no comparables
Mm,
because who buys a
Well,
transmission line?
Let's not go into that kind of a discussion unless,
Yeah.
unless they were here to actually
Yeah,
describe
yeah,
their
let's-
procedure.
Chair,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna discuss the appraisal.
Right.
Because it's not my place, but we'll discuss this. If we put this out on the market, what type of Because nobody can do anything with it. There's
Right.
very limited uses.
Exactly.
And again, and then you turn around and you're putting this in the backyard or
Of
the side
somebody,
yard,
right, no.
potentially of
We can't do that.
individuals.
That's
We
a
can't do that to our
factor,
residents.
factor to consider. I would not use that as one of your justifications, quite honest, because I'm not sure that's true. I think it might come in
Well-
at more than 90 and than $89,000. It may not be 2.4 million, but so, I don't have any problem. I think
All
of,
right.
I've attempted to establish clearly that it's a decision that's a legislative decision for the
Mhm.
board. And that you can consider multiple factors. And in addition, the fair market value is, you have the information on it. And then because of the unusual circumstances of this property, you can choose one or the other. Not, unless you don't have, we're not in the business of appraising property ourselves, this entity. So we've got here and here, and then you can go that way. You don't have to go that way.
Say, yeah, continue to move forward. Three options,
But move forward with the assessed value, using the assessed value.
about three options.
Well, we've already went past that. We already did that. So that we have two options, either the assessed value or the appraised value.
Or something
Those are-
in between.
No, well. I don't know. I prefer that you. Both appraised value and assessed value are done by professionals
Right.
who have methodologies.
Right, we're not just gonna
that
make up,
apply.
No.
right.
We don't
It's-
need to make
we
up a
need to-
third
we need to
value.
Decide now if we're gonna go with appraised or assessed.
I think it's the, I don't know.
Um,
I'm in favor of the assessed.
So I am too.
Yeah, it's Airbnb and assessed.
Okay, Richard? Okay, so we've got consensus. We're gonna go with the assessed value.
So that
Okay.
helps us a lot. because
Of course, now you
the
could figure
CFO,
out,
we
right,
can actually
exactly.
Calculate each of them.
Thank you.
Can you say that one more time?
Assessed value. Everybody heard it. It's on the record. It's on Zoom. It's recorded. It's a done. Okay, now let's move on. So Patty, you want to go back to your motion? We'll do that and then we'll do public comment. But Mr. Sweet, are those cards for Mr. Sweet?
Not these two.
Okay, all right, let's make the motion and then we'll go to public comment.
And just for the record, I'm sorry,
That's
when
okay.
Mr. Sweet spoke earlier, he was actually called to the date.
Right, no, yes, that's why, that's why, I just want to know if we had others. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Somewhere out there.
There might be somebody, right, he may have something else he wants to add, which is absolutely fine. I can't turn your,
Motion to approve resolution number 2025-019, amending and restating the district's policy regarding disposition of surplus interest in real property, including easements. Do I need to include in there going off of the assessed value?
That's an issue for the next resolution.
Okay. All right.
okay, do we have a second? Who got it first? Michael. Okay, public comment, please.
Can you do something like a trade fund or something?
Yes, that's a great idea.
An event fund.
Event fund?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you say, when they supported the.
They supported the, yeah,
Sponsored by.
ACP, sponsored by the
Oh.
residents of the power lines.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Not to make light of that, but through the chair, because actually I've done this before. If that were to go to something, could it be considered a sponsorship or something so they could write it off on their taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's a
Yeah.
question for later. Like, right, no. Yeah. So
Just-
Frank, you'll get back to us on that. Yeah. Okay, Scarlett.
All right. Kevin Ferreira,
It was a good.
It's a great idea.
Worked out.
Hey guys, Madam President and Board. So I own the parcel on 59 that you guys are maintaining. And just a quick story. I'll tell you guys kind of how I acquired the property real quick. I bought the property in 2023. I was well aware of the easement. I knew it was there. And when I bought the property, it was a mess. I mean, the realtor at the time had told us it had been pretty much abandoned for 10, 15 years. It was overgrown. There were trailers. It was a mess. And we spent a long time organizing it to what it is today. If you guys get the chance to come by, I haven't had any correspondence via mail or anything like that. So I'm a little bit surprised at all this stuff that's kind of been going on in the background. I just really haven't been aware of it. But if you do get the chance to come by and see what we've done there, my main concern is hearing from Frank that you cannot build anything on that easement property. I understand that it's not going to be conveyed to me as an owner, but hearing that there is interest from the engineers at building some kind of siphon or modifying or putting a fence in, what we've done there is basically created a giant field that it's kind of just part of our livelihood there. So my main thing is kind of, as a homeowner, I'm just a little bit nervous and like anticipating like what that's going to look like for me in the next, whatever, if it's a year or 2 years or 10 years, or I don't exactly, but I do know that we're building a home there, as in like my family and all that. So my main thing is just understanding what is going to happen. Are you going to be putting a fence that's going to divide this property that we've been in for the last 2-3 years? Is that something that now I won't be able to access the other side of the property where we have a retention pond? And, me and my kid, we go around with four-wheeler, the lawnmower. Like, am I not going to be able to do that anymore? That's kind of my main concern. So I would just ask you to consider not fencing in the part of that crosses across my property. You guys want to build whatever you guys want to build with the guys ride dirt bikes. I agree. It's ridiculous. It's loud at night and super unsafe. But where we have our home, I would just ask you to consider, that you will be impacting a family there, even if you're not going to convey title. I'm not really too worried about the title, but
Absolutely. Would you give your address to Scarlett and your phone
Yeah,
number?
Near the lower portion.
No.
What's the address?
it's 12857.
Yeah, he's the lower portion of A.
It looks amazing. I mean, what we've done there is, I've spent over 50 grand just in clearing it and upkeeping it. I spend like 400 a month to mow your lawn, what you guys have there. There was trailers there from the last one. It was a mess. And, that's just part of our livelihood. Sorry.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Through the chair, just quickly, because I know we're not supposed to go back and forth. But we're not necessarily looking at, we want that portion, but not necessarily put any structures. So that's something Mr. Foy and I can talk about. And if there's a way that where we can maybe give, like cross access, so he can do that, and then try to also work with the county on that, because if he ever does decide to put something there, it's going to be a real issue for him.
Right.
So we want to try. I'm just looking forward, because it will be
In
an
the
issue
future,
for
yeah.
us, but we really don't want to give up that. We need that.
It's this lot
that
here,
property.
the
We don't
main here.
need it for structures, but we definitely need that.
For access.
to
Okay,
that.
all right. We'll do what we can for you.
It's this one right here.
Yeah.
Jonathan Lopez.
This is next.
Good evening, Jonathan Lopez. I live on 14428 58th place, the upper portion of B. I just built a house there this year. Just want to say, like what he was saying over here, the quality of life. What you guys have there is a giant mill hill with a loader and dump trucks constantly every day in and out of that place. And it's a big dirt bike park, every night, every weekend. And I'm a second generation Floridian, and my family has been here in Loxahatchee and Loxahatchee Groves my whole life. And this is my dream. to live out here, start a little farm for my family and live at peace out of the city. And like he said, the quality of life, that dump truck and all the noise constantly is just, you know, it's not nice, I guess, to put it in a pleasant way. So I'm kind of hoping, and also I have a survey that says that I own both sides of that property and I can't really access the other side of it because of what you guys have got going on there. So, you know, I would ask if I can buy that. You know, you guys can not keep that property because the top of B. Yeah, that triangle. And there's a canal there that splits B, so it's not really one property. There's a canal that splits both of them, so you don't have access. You have to come onto my road or 257 to get around that canal to be able to access the other side of B. So really, you know, that hill also is so high. I can see the hill from my house and, you know, the kids get up. I have no problem with the kids riding their bikes, but, you know, it does get a little
Right.
excessive.
We talked about not having that as permanent.
Yeah, I was just waiting for him to finish and then I was gonna address that.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys are doing well.
Of course,
So,
Mr. Hanson.
yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Robinson, I spoke about that. So in the past, it has been used, you know, and we've talked to some people who've been here for a while, so it's not something new, but what we are going to do is we're not gonna use that as a permanent storage site, but when we are working in this area, we'll store materials and potentially equipment there. But we usually work within certain operating hours. But once this all goes through, what we will do is we're gonna permanently fence and secure this area. And we talked about keeping that where it's really not visible from neighbors for exactly the reason, but it's too, we need something in this area and this
Right.
is the site where we have it. So it just, for us, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, rather than putting it on Persimmon down there. It just too much traffic on that road.
So we'll make it better.
Yeah. I think Mr. Robinson will say this.
Yes, through the chair. We do have approximately 60 miles of roads down there that we're looking to build in the next 5 to 7 years. So while that is ongoing, it won't be a full-time operation, and we do limit the hours to daylight operations, and you know, we don't typically work on a Friday. And the adjacent landowners, I think this just died. Trespassers over there with dirt bikes, I encourage them to, it's called PBSO, because that's been an ongoing issue, and don't live too far from there. So if I hear them, I run over there and they're usually gone by then. Or if I come up one side, they go out the other. And I know they zip up to the canal to the north and over. So, but when we are cleaning that area up, as a lot of times when we do the swale work, we do it with the smaller trailers. And then when we get a big enough pile, we haul it out with the dump trucks. So as it is beneficial to the district for right now, as we're doing improvements to the area to keep that as an ongoing facility for the short time. And I'm talking short time, you know, 5 to 7 years. It does seem like a lot, but in the lifespan of the district, it's not.
So that property there, that swell is really poor drainage. And I've invested my own money, hundreds of dollars renting machines, trying to clear that swell out. My neighbor, Pudge, he cuts the grass. You know, he's been there since the 80s. He's been cutting the grass. I mean, I think you guys should be mowing that land and if we're gonna keep it, should maintain that property.
If we keep it, we will.
And make that drainage better, because when it rains a lot, it doesn't drain. The water comes back west from the canal closest to us. So something needs to be, it's because the power poles are right there and the roads, it used to swerve around, sorry, it used to swerve around that power pole from what I've been told from my neighbor, and then you guys changed it straight. So then the swell is, the poles and the road are so close to each other, so the swell is just, it's just not good enough for drainage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So Rob will look into that.
Yeah, the four-wheelers.
Trashing it, yeah.
Question for Mr. Robinson. So that area that we're discussing right now is a strategic location for millings. We have millings there, correct?
Yes, sir.
For the next 5-7 years. If the millings weren't there, where would the next pile of millings come from? Would that be the M2 expansion?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's a pretty far distance from that area there.
Yeah,
It would
it's-
obviously be a lot of
Depending
work
on-
and wasted time, tax dollars with fuel and stuff like that.
Depending on school traffic, it can
Yes.
take anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes
Okay.
per load extra.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sweet, did you want to use your cards or are you done?
Okay, very good. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? See that passes 4-0. All right, next. Frank, did we do everything that you needed us to do with this?
Yes. I think.
Okay, very good. Mr. Sweet, neighbors, I want to thank you. Echo what, oh, wait,
I'm sorry, the motion just was for the one resolution.
okay,
So-
that's
but
what,
I'm
okay.
sorry. I meant,
I'm
This
not
was
taking
done.
it back, I'm just pausing. Okay, next, so what is our next? Let's go on. We gave the extraordinary circumstances. Okay. All right, so,
you didn't vote yet, have you? On that particular?
so now we're doing,
Okay.
now we're going back to 2025-019.
2-0.
Oh, now we're on 2-0. We did, okay.
1-9 was the policy.
Okay.
Which you've amended.
Okay, very good. Okay, do we have a motion?
We're gonna have to do this one the old fashioned way. I can't get.
You
back
can't
into
go
my
back.
computer.
Okay, so,
So I'm gonna have it up on the screen.
okay,
I'll
so,
make the motion. Wait, no, this is the wrong one. So I gotta read it from here. Okay. So I make the motion to discuss. Are
no,
we discussing? No.
we discussed already.
I put that as an option, either discuss it or
Okay, all right,
if you
so,
felt comfortable with it, then you could proceed.
so,
Motion to accept? Motion
Approve.
To approve. There we go. Motion to approve resolution number 2025-020, declaring certain real property between 60th Street North and Persimmon Boulevard in Unit 14, quote unquote, or I guess parentheses, the FP&L parcel to be surplus
okay, do I have a second?
With the assessed.
with the assessed value.
Give me a second. Yeah, well, we're doing this, yeah. Second? It's not working on that, I just need a verbal.
Second.
Okay, so we have a, excuse me, we have a motion by Supervisor Farrell, seconded by Supervisor Vassalotti, all in favor?
Aye.
Nice.
Aye,
What was the last part of that? Carrie, can you share the screen, please?
sure.
So I made the motion to approve resolution number 2025-020, declaring certain real property between 60th Street North and Persimmon Boulevard in Unit 14, the FP&L parcel to be surplus with assessed value.
Using.
Using the
using
assessed value.
Can I just, so, just for confirmation's sake, there are details that in the attached documents that need to be changed, corrected, edited. Section 6 of the resolution provides that the authority of the executive director
Or make minor changes.
can make major changes that don't affect price. So
Yeah.
I'll finalize the contract terms and the closing document terms, and then ask Mr. Hanson to at some point sign off in some way.
Perfect. And then, one other thing before we move on, we talked about, a date.
Okay.
All right, being it is the holidays, can we say all decisions have to be made by January 15th? Is that too, Mr. Sweet, what do you think?
I was gonna say January 30th.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay,
Even better.
all right,
If everyone's fine.
okay, are we good with that?
January 30th.
Are we good with that?
So January
Well,
30th.
then definitely the first.
So we can do January 3rd.
Okay, makes sense. January 30th, no, 31st. No. But that's on me, yeah. That's on staff and professionals. Okay,
Looking somewhere
all right.
there.
Frank, one more time, did we get everything done that we needed to do?
That, or I'll be able to work with
Yes, yes,
Mr. Hanson on it, as long as it doesn't affect price.
right.
Yeah, and if there is anything that may probably have.
Then we have
December,
several meetings, right, to discuss.
I don't think.
Okay,
We will individually communicate. We're going to make an offer to each of the landowners.
right,
And in answer to the question about, other people elsewhere, no, we're not making any offers.
right, to anybody else, only the
That's it.
adjacent, right. Okay, thank you all,
Excuse me, who made the second?
Richard. Everybody, thank you. Thank you, as Vice President Farrell said, for your patience and your understanding. This has been an arduous process to sift through. We want to help you. We have an entire district of residents to look out for as well, our staff, our board. This has not been an easy thing, but we're in the final stretch, I'm happy to say. And this will be resolved. And I hope afterward you guys will still come to meetings. Because I know this is what gets you here, but we like to have, the residents participate and know what's going on, right? So even if you can't be here in person, you could always watch on Zoom, you could watch on YouTube, catch it later, call us with questions, go to the website. We're here for everybody. So thank you all so much. And I'm glad to see that we're going to finally get this resolved for you guys. So thank you. You are very welcome. It's our pleasure. All right. 8.2 bid award. Mr. Robinson. Yeah.
Just while.
Can we, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Is this something very quick or?
well, I think it is because you only received one. bid
Okay,
response.
we're gonna do this and then take a 5.
Yeah.
If it's okay. Yep. All right. So go ahead, Mr. Robinson. It's all you. Good night, guys. Can you guys step out? Are you done? Are you guys? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We just can't hear. I'm sorry. It's a small room. Thank you. Good night. Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up. So we went out for bid with for RFP for sod. We received only one respondent. And reviewing the package that was in there, a lot of it was illegible. So we are here by requesting that we reject it and we go back out for another RFP. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So do we need a motion for that or can we just consensus? Motion. There you go. All right. All in favor? No, because we have no public comment. Very good. All right. All right. Motion is approved 4-0. Thank you, sir. We're going to take a 5-minute break. That was very quick. Thank you. Thank you. We're just going to knock them out of the park now. When we get to parks. All right. 5 minutes. We'll be back. We are now moving on to 8.3, position reclassifications. Mr. Hanson?
Yes, thank you. So just quickly, I'm going to let Ms. Heiser actually handle the item as the Chief Administrative Officer. But from time to time, we have unique opportunities within the district where we may have open positions and potential candidates where if we combine them, we basically lower payroll, lower liabilities, benefits, things like that, and get someone in that's more functional in both those positions and just combine them into one. So we save on salary and liabilities. This one is very important because I think as we move forward in the future, we're trying to cut payroll and of course taxes. But, you know, over the past several months, the staff has talked to you, you know, we want to go out for RFP for mowing, for stormwater, for canals and swales, which then in turns lowers our equipment inventory in the longer run. So
And insurance
and
and all those
insurance and all of
liabilities.
that.
Mhm.
And so because of that, you know, we're really looking now a little differently at the operation than say we did in June when we did the budget. Plus at that time, we didn't have two open positions. So with that, I'll let Ms. Heiser take it from there.
Okay. Okay. So the district has recently lost both the procurement specialist and the fleet supervisor, which, like Mr. Hanson just explained, gives us the unique opportunity to combine both positions into one position, which we would then classify as the supervisor of inventory and fleet services. Looking at this opportunity and reevaluate both positions. Bless you. Gives us the opportunity to advance the procurement process in itself, with the concept looking for the district to lease more equipment, which obviously then will reduce the mechanics time. The prospect of the potential mowing contract, which then eliminates some of the frequent flyers of our mowing equipment, which is some of our older equipment. And like I said, we call them frequent flyers because they're quite a bit in there. And which is probably, like I said, one of the oldest equipment within our fleet. And just like our previous fleet supervisor, he was both working fleet mechanic, supervising the fleet mechanic on staff, as well as special project like with stormwater, the what are they called? The yes, he a lot of fabricating, a lot of welding. I mean, he is exceptional in these aspects. So we're looking for somebody that can hopefully bring some of that talent in addition to being well-versed in inventory tracking, inventory maintenance, and revamp a little bit of the inventory system at the maintenance building, as well as just working with the new ERP system, working with the finance department, really implementing the new Tyler program with the ERP and making this as efficient and productive as it can be. So we're embracing this opportunity. We're looking at separating the position out of being within the parks or stormwater or roads and sidewalk and pulling it separate. It would report to Chief Administrative Officer, so it is independent to a certain aspect. We're also looking, and it is a little bit confusing in the agenda item because it was worded the fiscal impact will be, the fiscal impact is not, there's a cushion. So you have a little bit of a $20,000 cushion in between the salary ranges. The midpoint, the low and the high, there's in each about a $20,000 cushion, in addition to saving the insurance the workers' comp and all the ancillary costs. So with that, the recommendation coming forward from us right now would be to take that opportunity and reclassify or eliminate the positions as they are and start a new position, supervisor of inventory and fleet services with the corresponding salary range and organizational chart starting tomorrow, 11/13/2025. So that's point one. I don't know if you want us to go one by one, which is maybe easier. Yeah. So if you have any questions on
Okay.
this.
I don't, do we need a motion on this? Yes. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, then let's take a motion, please, to approve the reclassifications, updated salary schedules and organizational charts as applicable and explained. We have a motion by Patricia Farrell. Seconded by Richard Vassalotti. All in favor? We don't have any public comment, right?
Excuse me, are we gonna do each reclassification as a separate motion, or are you gonna
Do you want to do, okay, so do you want to,
set up as one?
okay, so is that easier for you? Okay. All right, so,
Okay.
okay.
All right, so the second part is, I'm gonna go with the third one of it, which is the reclassification of customer service from full-time to part-time, because it makes more sense going into the middle part. So the district's customer service has expressed her desire to go from full-time to part-time, which is actually an opportunity for the district to reduce, again, some overhead. We've been looking at reducing the hours there in regards, because between records and front desk, the workload is manageable by one position, so we would like to give it that opportunity. The front desk has established the ERP program to, I think, 80% by now. I wanted to check before we started the meeting to have the accurate number, but by 80% they're established, so they can accept almost all the work orders by now, if I'm correct. They're in the process of getting the work orders done. They are accepting, the cashiering program is established. So a lot of the nitty-gritty program that took a lot of time has been more efficient, much quicker, and less time consuming. So all this is working. The whole ERP process is working. It is smoother. It is so much more productive. With that, it is almost perfect timing that she decided that this is now time for her to reduce her hours, because it does give us the opportunity to reduce this time, to give her the opportunity to enjoy time with the family, and us the time to, like, okay, let's take this and make it one position. So that's the other part, making the customer service a part-time position. So they're still available to cover these off hours of vacation time, sick time, floating holidays when somebody, calls out. So you still have the coverage, but you don't have the overhead.
Perfect.
And then that would make the records retention specialist, also customer service. And we would incorporate a 5% increase by reclassification of her position.
Okay. Which we're still seeing in net savings.
Yes,
Tremendous.
because
Yeah.
the benefits
Yeah, alone.
included,
Yeah.
because a part-time position doesn't have the
Right.
medical, the dental, the vision.
Right. Anything we can do to lower costs obviously is a win for the residents, so
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Okay.
So again, it comes with a salary range and the organizational chart, which would not be in effect until January.
Okay. Good. And we don't have public comment on this, correct?
No.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Call the vote. All in favor? That passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Aw. Aw. Okay. Item number 9, intergovernmental updates and permits.
We have that Muslim community center on Seminole Pratt, I think it's 62nd or 61st. They have resubmitted the plans for review. It's been like 4 months since we gave them the comments, so it's under review. And the original submittal was not near meeting the compensating storage requirement. So hopefully what they've done will meet it or at least get close. That's where we're at with that one.
The on 62nd and Seminole Pratt.
On the west side,
We talked about this.
No, I just.
yeah, the
Right, and then they
ULDC
have to-
requires the land user to use an alternate road if it is available. It's right in the Palm Beach County Code. So they didn't have a choice but to meet Palm Beach County Code.
That was a little different with that one because we're not on a county road like this one. Yeah.
And other circumstances with that one as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are two, there are two of them.
They weren't, right. Nope. Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And it's just.
Mhm.
Two streets and you do that.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'd have to check into that. The county has jurisdiction of Orange from Seminole Pratt through Coconut. No, through Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. So, and that didn't happen until 95, I believe. That was the second agreement. There was a 92 and a 95 agreement. So we'd have to check the timing on when the site plan was approved. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and the county said no to that one as well. So, it would come to us through a special permit or a driveway permit. If the county allowed the entrance. We do not have such a policy.
Guaranteed that 7 days.
We do not have that type of a policy in place.
Can
If
we
it conflicts,
create one?
if it conflicts with the county ULDC, I would dare to say that they would trump us.
Well, maybe we could look into that a little further and see. Thank you.
Just two things. So, Mr. Palin did send the ILA, the interlocal agreement that would dictate or outline the process for stop sign or other type of traffic control, speed limits to the county attorney. Because right now, there's really not a process for us to move forward to request those types of things. As you all know, Ms. Kaufman is leaving in a few weeks, and they have selected a new county attorney. We have not yet met with the new county attorney. So hopefully we will be able to get this done rather quickly, because the assistant county attorney, Ms. Liz Herman, was working with us a couple of years ago on this before we had other issues pop up. So hopefully we can move this. But again, right now, there's not much we can do until they're done with the review and give us an answer.
Thank you.
Then they confirmed receipt and that it's being reviewed. So I got an email back from Ms. Herman.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last thing, I just received it earlier, so I'll send it to everyone. I received it from Ms. McNicholas, and it's regarding Senate Bill 356, which is a statute that I guess oversees side-by-sides or UTVs on state roads. There's new language to set up criteria to give the county or municipality the determination based on, again, certain criteria for certain roadways to allow side-by-sides on roads. And some of the criteria, and again, I'll send it to you, but give me 1 second, I just had it up. Yeah. This. Yeah, well, at some point it may come through, but it's just, I'm bringing it up because you know that the county is looking at these, you know, and this would certainly give them the ability to allow it on roadways that the county or municipality deems safe to either use or cross if it's 55 miles per hour or less. So that opens up a wide range of roadways, particularly out here. So again, I just received it before the meeting, so I'll send it out to everyone, but that's another one we'll have to watch. And I know one other thing, and I'm not sure if you were gonna discuss it, but the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue local bill on tomorrow, do you want? I haven't talked to him, so I'm not as.
I spoke to Mr. O'Brien. They are the union is in support of it. As we know, League of Cities is not. It will affect our residents should we get annexed. There will be additional cost. I support it. That's me personally. Really, it's kind of out of our wheelhouse. But so they're running a bill. It's going to local delegation tomorrow that if unincorporated areas get annexed, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue still maintains all of the calls and all of that. Not that the city will then take over fire rescue. And I think that's very important in light of new policies that, and I'm sure Supervisor Vassalotti can speak better on this, but they're changing their shift, and now is not the time to risk. And you know, we have an amazing fire rescue in Palm Beach County, and if this doesn't pass and areas get annexed, such as the way Wellington did, for example, or other areas, then those residents would be forced to use the municipality's fire rescue, increasing costs, and therefore reducing funding to Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. And I certainly can't get behind that. But again, I'd like to see where it goes with the local delegation. It's still a lot of moving parts. It's still, the bill is not fully drafted yet and probably will not be in time for tomorrow. So I think this is a conversation better to have for our December meeting and see, when we go to Tallahassee, where we stand on that. And if that's something that, we want to discuss while we're up there.
So
Okay, excellent. All right, 9-1. The board president is seeking board consensus to schedule a joint workshop meeting with other municipalities. And we touched briefly on this last month, but I guess we didn't come to a full consensus. I thought we did, but I thought we did. So let's just.
with specifically with the town of Waxahachie Groves.
Okay,
but not really
so-
the other ones.
Right, yeah, so, yeah, because I think we all of us together, have skin in this game and we're all affecting each other, so I think that's important, so we're gonna just basically adding other municipalities into this workshop. We good with that? Okay, we've got consensus, very good. Board member updates, Michael, do you have anything? No? Richard? Okay, Patty?
So we don't want to forget our sponsors from the event. I feel like we're beating the event, but I want to make sure we're recognizing everybody. So just very quickly, those sponsors that ranged anywhere from $25 sponsorship all the way up to $1,000. And I'm not putting these in any sponsorship amount, just putting them out there. So we had Candor Carports, Lost Oak Farms, Academy of Dance, Barky Pines Animal Rescue, Detile Plumbing. Am I saying that right? Okay. Jamie Sanchez, Justina Garrison, Q Fitness, Dirt R Us, Royal Palm Ice Cream, 5153, which is also AAA Garden, Jabrewski's, BCM Construction, Jennifer Fleming, and the Hay Guy with Allie. So I just want to make sure we put that out there. So again, thank you. I hope they are willing to help sponsor again. And I want to keep seeing the community come together. I think that was one of my main points for getting on here. There's so much division and I see us starting to gradually do that and I want to keep moving forward.
I heard Rocky Pines has already agreed to sponsor. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Very good, very good. All right, I think I spoke enough tonight, so we'll just move on to staff updates.
I'll be really quick. So Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, they will have a rough draft of the strategic plan to us sometime in the first week of December. So we'll have that and again, you can review it, make any input and then bring it back later for final or formal adoption if that's what the board would like to do. And then we've also made an offer and the offer was accepted for the media and public outreach officer. So we have a really exceptionally talented person coming in on December 29th. And I'll share that with you, her name and all of that and her background with you in email to the board.
Fantastic. I think that's going to be a huge help.
Yep. And very strong background in really bridging the gap between a silent community and getting them more involved. Which
Excellent.
will help us. And then just some updates on the RFPs or invitation to bid. So I believe on Sunday, if I'm correct, Ms. Cantley, we have the bid going out for the trees and other landscaping for the Coconut Park, which is the one for the Hurricane Milton tornado. You'd be partially reimbursed by FEMA. And then we also have the M0 canal outfall going out as well, which you appreciate Mr. Foley, because he really had to pull it together because they really jumped the timeline on us and would not extend it. So we'll be able to move forward with that. And am I missing anything else?
And possibly one with the Safe Streets for All we got permission to move on to the bid part of that. So that's a grant that we're getting that doesn't have a match to it.
Excellent. I like those. Those are my favorites
Yeah. And then, of course, what we said earlier, we have to go back out. Thank you.
for the sod.
For the sod.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely. Thank you.
and then, we'll be going out shortly for the canals and swales. For the mowing that we talked about in the past.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. And
I like to see us getting leaner and more efficient. Okay.
just again, I want to thank all of you for your support with the events. So
Absolutely.
and volunteers.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And it, like I said earlier, you know, it really showed the community wants this with the amount of people that we had. So I think that it speaks volumes.
Yep.
And it really brings the community together. And I'm really grateful that Hope wants to get involved, get to organize the parade. That takes the burden off of our Parks Department. And hopefully she could, you know, rally the community. She's already got people that, you know, will dress their buggies and put up trailer them. So I think that's fantastic. And then, you know, I'm working on some cost issues there with that as well, which I'll know, you know, obviously soon. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you all again.
And for those that were lucky enough, that was a one and done performance by me. So
Oh yeah, I'm not buying that. I don't think so. We got,
No,
yeah.
I'm going back to being behind the scenes.
Yeah, you did great.
He did.
You did great. You're a good warner there for everybody.
My horse has decided that he's striking. So,
Done, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, right. There you go. I can take care of that. Okay, 11.1 Parks Policies and Procedures. Did everybody look at the backup? Do we need a presentation from Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we can just do a quick highlight, just so.
Absolutely, just go over the
Things-
changes. Absolutely.
I apologize. Keyboard turned off. So we'll go through some of the biggest changes. Obviously, the food truck, we added that in there. I'm gonna go back down to that. Well, I can hit this real quick. So we added in a bicycle restriction. Just kind of address some of the issues we have with the kids popping the wheelies in the parks and allow us to do something with that. And then I also added in a mask restriction in there. That is currently a state statute, 16 and over. It's actually against the law for them to be wearing that in public to kind of hide their identity. So we're kind of just pulling that into here so I could put it into the rules, into the parks later. Let me go down to.
Just real quick, bikes are becoming a problem because we found out today, and we're going back looking through cameras, but they're now putting their bikes in the sinks, the bathroom sinks and the bathroom toilets. Yeah, no, it was on TikTok and it was our park. So they're going back. We don't have all the information, but just while he's looking that up. So I mean, yeah.
So. All right, so I'm having issues here. I'm just gonna stop sharing. So the biggest change was the food truck, and we basically adopted state, county, and local requirements. I looked at the local municipalities, what they were actually requiring. I took in information from the Department of Business and Professional Regulations, the hotels and restaurants, and then the agricultural department, added that in there as well. The only big change that we're actually doing that nobody really is doing is background checks. And one of the reasons being these vendors actually have access to minors in our parks that aren't necessarily with adults. So we're going to do a level 2 background check. And then I kind of just clarified exactly what the requirements are for these individuals moving forward. We do have that current food truck that's out at Downers right now. His permit was set to his license, which expires December 1st. I'm going to email him this week once this is approved and let him know the new policy updates. And then if he hits those, then we could potentially look at moving forward, but that's where we're at with this.
Okay. And I just want to thank staff again for looking out for the district, and time again, it's proven why these background checks and these insurance policies that we require are so important. And I'm not going to go into it any further, but I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention, our HR staff, our park staff, our attorneys. You know, we don't want to make life difficult for people, but we need to protect our residents and we need to protect this district. And sometimes, unfortunately, the good people get caught up in having to perform the same, but it's for a very good reason. And nothing we do here, the decisions we make are to hurt our community. They're only to help our community and protect people's tax dollars. And you guys have been pushing this, which I am very grateful for. And I know the majority of the residents out there are very grateful for it. And they know why that we're doing it and why we require it and how important it is. And again, time and time again, it's being proven. So thank you for that very much.
And just quickly, just one other one that I do think is important. And that is dealing with the non-resident fee in South Park. Yeah. We cannot charge a non-resident fee for the amphitheater, multi-purpose field 1 or 2 in the future one. So
Because of the
county needs.
Right. Okay.
And I
Yeah.
was going to say, I did add those fees in there so that it matches Rec Desk. So once we go officially live, it is live right now. We just haven't started it because we have one file that we have to go over tomorrow with finance. Once that's done, we'll be able to go live with it, but I want to make sure everything matches.
Okay, very good. So and I'm looking for a motion to approve the updated facilities, parks and recreation policy and procedure. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. That passes 4-0. Thank you very much. I know, right? I know. We're getting used to it. All right, consent agenda. Motion to receive and file the following consent agenda items: 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There it is. Motion by Supervisor Johnson, second by Supervisor Farrell. All in favor? Oh. Right? I know. Click, 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 click. Okay. All right, staff presentation. Wait, yep, staff presentation.
Yeah, I jumped ahead.
So you're good, right?
Yeah, 'cause I
Okay.
was looking at staff
Right.
updates.
And you did the right. I know we gotta Yeah, okay,
Well-
good. So we're good. Notice to ITB, RFP, RFQ, did that, we're good. Notice invitation to bid, we're good. Go live, 10/16. Oh, you want to talk about that, or I could just. We kind of talked about, the trees, the grants. We already really went through all that.
I just, I'm not sure. I have a quick question because I was not able to connect with Mr. Palin because we were focused on the FPL. But I know at one of the past meetings, Miss Viator had asked for a shade session, and I know that with the potential appeal or the oral arguments coming up, when I spoke to Mr. Lebedecker, he had mentioned potentially just having the attorney ask if in fact we would need one between now and then. So he wasn't sure if that would continue. The one that she had requested a while ago, because it was open-ended to be determined, but just because that was when she was actually here, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Just if we need to ask for that again. In case.
Honestly, I don't know what the situation is on that, if there's some actual settlement discussions going on.
I believe he thinks there may be.
So, and I think what he's asking is, can we now schedule it, being that we brought up, we needed to have it a couple of months ago. Can we just now schedule it, or do we need to start fresh again and ask for it tonight?
Or we're not scheduling a actual meeting at the moment for the board. Yes,
That's fine.
right. I do remember that there was that open-ended
So we're
commitment.
good. Okay, very good. Okay, so reports, motion to receive and file following reports: 14, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 4 was deleted. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. See that passes 4-0, and we are adjourned. Thank you.